Hello, guys, and welcome to the Stardom Cast, your weekly audio source of all things World Wonder Ring Stardom. I'm your host, Rob Godwin. I'm joined as ever by Mr. Matt Turner, and it is our unashamedly favorite episode of the year. It is our 5-star Grand Prix primer. Matt Turner, it is 5-star season. The tournament begins on Saturday. We have got 32 competitors. We only knew 30, then we knew 32. Now we only know 31 again. But it's tournament season. We have got schedules, and I am hyped, as I always am, for 5-star Grand Prix season. And we are going to talk you through every single competitor, every single match, every single permutation, introducing anyone who is completely new to Stardom to the 5-star Grand Prix. If you haven't joined Stardom during 5-star Grand Prix season, then this is the place you need to be for all you need to know, Matt.
Rob, if you and our listeners, our fantastic listeners here on the World of Joshi Podcasting Network, if you're ever wondering how excited I am for this tournament, Rob, let me tell you about the dream I had last night. So the dream that I had last night, I remember weird dreams. This one may take the cake. So a dream that you and Kirsty were going to go see Doomsday, Avengers Doomsday, the same in your local theater, the same date and time. Me and Amber were going to go see Doomsday, the same theater, Northeastern Pennsylvania time. So we're sitting in the theater, and again, this is my dream. And all of a sudden, it's exactly how you think would be. All this crazy stuff's going on. All the portals from like Endgame are opening it up. And all of a sudden, it's getting like really breezy in the theater. Like, boy, these are some crazy special effects. And all of a sudden, there's leaves and everything blown in the theater. Wouldn't you know it? All of a sudden, you and Kirsty come through one of the portals, and you were in our theater. And we're like, what is going on? Like, what is going on? Like, this is crazy. Then all of a sudden, there's all chaos in the theater going. Captain America comes up to us as Chris Evans, but we kayfabed it. We called him Cap. Cool. They said, listen, there's obviously some crazy stuff going on. You have to stay with your team. And we're like, Cap, what do you mean? They're like, the Avengers are over here. The Fantastic Four are over here. The X-Men are over here. And then you go, well, Cap, what team are we on? Go, you guys are on Team Wrestling. You're over there. On Team Wrestling was obviously me, you, our significant others. God bless them. CM Punk, Jake Hager, also known as Jack Swagger.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm not done. Bobby Fish and Hazuki. Now, not only
anyone else.
Not only was it Hazuki, but it was hardcore Hazuki, you know, where she has the
braids,
has,
the jeans.
The braids. Yes.
Yeah. Right. So she means business.
Now you remember when she was hardcore Hazuki and she did the braids, she had both blue and red braids. Yes, now what happened was when she has the baseball bat, the barbed wire baseball bat, every time she touches it to the floor, her hair changed from blue to red. So we were like, oh, Hazuki's on our team. And Amber's like, well, Jake Hager is an All-American at Oklahoma. I don't know how she would know that. CM Punk is the guy that trained you for wrestling and like is legit, has MMA experience. And Bobby Fish is a former undefeated kickboxer, and I believe he's undefeated amateur MMA. Like, those are the guys we want to be signing on. Me and you were like, no, we have not only Hazuki, hardcore Hazuki, that when she touches the floor with the barbed wire baseball bat, her hair changes colors like Dennis Rodman. So, I mean, that's how excited. That's literally the dream I had. That's how last night. That's how excited I am for this primer and how excited I am for 5 stars. I can't think of a better way to start my day than that, my friend. And now the end of the day with about a 3 to 4 hour podcast like we do every year, the 5-star primer, my friend. I am so excited. We got predictions. Obviously, I have mine. You have yours. Amber has hers. She did give me hers last night. Andy Header just texted me his. And Rob, Karen Peterson sent me hers as well.
Oh,
yes.
Karen. Karen.
Yes, I absolutely loved her final. It's not the obvious one that kind of most of us are going to, but I was like, that one does make sense. So, folks, if you want to know what Post Wrestling's Karen Peterson, the forward to some of your books, Karen Peterson, that if you do want to know what her predictions are, just wait about 4 hours as we take you through this fantastic voyage. And before we do,
joyous voyage, the joyous
boys. I have so much stuff over here. There is one thing I need to get off my desk before I knock it over, by the way. Oh, what's this you say? Look at how thick this is, Rob. Like,
Big boy. I don't think you appreciated how beefy a boy my book is. Yeah.
hold on. We're gonna test this out. This is gonna be live on air. You ready? Did you hear that?
Ooh, it's a meaty thought.
Amber's gonna run upstairs and think I fainted. It is 90 degrees out, so
Yeah, it is a meaty. It is a meaty. But thank you to everyone, by the way, who has already purchased the complete Monday Night Wars 1996 Part 1, Death of Hulkamania. It was ever so briefly number 6 on the Amazon Kindle store charts for wrestling, which was really cool. Ironically, one below Hulk Hogan's autobiography. So there you go. Quite the parallel.
Hulk Hogan's still drawing numbers, and the Dark Side of the Ring, they had like 1 million views on YouTube. So, man's passed away, and he's still filling houses, brother. Doesn't work for me, brother.
But Matt Turner, aside from that, can we just appreciate for all of our English listeners that football is indeed coming home? We are clearly going to win the World Cup, the whole thing. I've never been more certain of anything in my entire life, which means that tomorrow when we play Argentina, we're going to get absolutely royally stuffed. But let me dream, people. Let me dream. Even Matt Turner tuned in, as apparently 19 million Americans, by the way, tuned into the England-Norway game. I think it was mainly for the Norway striker, Erling Haaland, who I believe America have taken to their collective hearts, and rightly so. He's an absolute gem. But yeah, between that and the England-Mexico game, we've apparently drawn quite a crowd to the States. So yeah, hopefully we can channel this. We can defeat Argentina and get through to that final. The other semi-final is France and Spain. That is happening right now. So we are currently waiting to see who wins that match, to see who, if we get through to the final, we will actually fight.
A lot of quick questions, buddy. So that was actually the most soccer/football I've seen. That wasn't my nephew's soccer game. And okay, I clearly by your awful poker face, something has happened in that game. Who are you pulling for in this game that's happening right now?
I mean, I will be perfectly honest. We are
double disqualification.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Like the Cinderella final a couple of years ago,
2018.
Yeah, when Mayu and Io eliminated themselves in the semis. That's what I want. Where it gets to a point where the referee's just like, enough of this, right? It needs to end, guys. France are the better team. I think if France, basically, being the typically dour and negative British person I am, I think whoever wins this semi-final probably wins the World Cup. We lost to Spain in the European Championship final, so we have got a bone to pick with them, but France did knock us out of the last World Cup, so we've also got history with them. France are the strongest team in the tournament by a country mile. They've looked the best. I heard. By an absolute mile. But Spain have just scored. So that's huge. If France go out in the semis, whoo, tell you, again, I still think Spain do us, but I fancy us more against Spain than I do against France.
There was, again, I don't watch too much soccer/football. There was one guy on your team.
Yes.
I was really impressed with, and now I forget his name. It was Saya or Saki. It was like 4 letters, began with an S. I don't think he scored any goals.
Saka.
That's right. Okay. I remember
Bukayo Saka. Yeah.
Yeah, I was really impressed with him. So what had happened? Everyone's like, wow, Matt is watching football/soccer. Yes. So here's what happened. I thought that the G1 that was taking place in Chicago, I woke up on Saturday before I did 4,000 things as I usually do. I'm like, 5:00. I think I'm going to watch that. It was 5:00 if you lived on the West Coast, which I don't. I live on the East Coast. So I was like, it's 8. So I got rushed. I got everything done. I got all my podcasts homework done. I filmed what I needed to film for my YouTube and TikTok and got my alternate commentary, got everything up. So Header he was going to be doing 4,000 shows because boy, howdy, are we busy this week in the best way possible. Got everything done, got downstairs around 5:05. Now I was a little before that because it was nice. I said, I'm going to work on this facial tan, you see, Rob, because obviously a lot of podcasts. This is the 5-star primer. I gotta look my Sunday's best.
Absolutely. This is our Woodstock.
This is it. This is our prom. So I get in the house and it's a little bit after 5. Whatever. It is what it is. So I get in the house a little bit after 5. I'm like, I'm late. And I was like, oh no, I'm 3 hours early. So I was like, okay, let's flip through the channels. And I was like, oh, England's playing. This is a quarterfinal game. So they'll go to the
Mhm.
final four. I said, I'll put on for a little bit. So this way we can cheer Rob on. Then as the game was going, then we ate and then we saw there was a goal and then not a goal. Then a ball hit a wire. And then it, was like the hate crate thing. And I was like, a lot of interference in this game. So then I text you like, what are you doing watching this? I'm like, kind of was 3 hours early to the 5-star or the G1, excuse me. I got
Mhm.
5-star Grand Prix on the brain. So me and Amber were sitting on the couch. I will watch her for a little bit, and then we were cheering you on, buddy. And I know that there was the goal ahead goal that happened in overtime one, which because you need more than one overtime.
Apparently,
Apparently,
yeah.
after playing 90 minutes, it's not enough. I guess it happened like 12:30 a.m. your time, and you said that your
Was.
street went electric and woke up Kirsty.
Well, it's funny because obviously at the end of 9 minutes when it was 1-1, Kirsty was like, I can't stay up. I need to go to bed. And she doesn't really like football, but she stopped up because it was England and she was like, no, I'm going to bed. I was like, that's fine. But because we were watching it in the conservatory, we were watching it on the streaming service. So it was a couple of minutes behind the live feed. So Bellingham scored the second one and Kirsty went upstairs and heard the entire street explode because Bellingham had scored. I'd got no idea that they'd scored. So she came
Oh,
back downstairs, literally just stood in the doorway of the conservatory and looked at me. I was like, no. And she just went, there's just been screaming. I was like, but Norway were in our half. And I was like, but they're so far. No, it can't happen. So I'm watching it going, surely not, surely not, surely not. And then the keeper spelt it and Bellingham scored and I lost my mind. But yes, football is coming home. Again, I'm only saying that to be positive. I genuinely do think whoever wins France and Spain probably wins the World Cup. And to be fair, I think Argentina probably do us tomorrow. But it's all about the joy, Matt. It's all
that's
about
right.
the joy.
And you told me to keep you positive, and I was like, I know nothing about the game, but I
Mhm.
do know about endurance. And I did tell you that other team looked like they were getting really tired, especially those last like 10
Yeah,
minutes in regular play. And as Carl Gotch said, here we're going to bring it back to wrestling, is
love
that
that.
yes, is that conditioning is your best hold, and fatigue makes cowards of us all. So
There you go.
going back to Carl Gotch, who was in the main event of the first ever New Japan show. But just a quick question, Rob. Like I know, like, and I watch American football and college football, like those are outside of wrestling and MMA and boxing and whatnot. Those are like my sports that I watch when I have a little bit of free time. But I kind of always have an idea when the season starts, like where I think my team should end up. Like I don't always think my team should go undefeated. They should win the championship every
Mhm.
year. I kind of have an idea. So when this World Cup started, did you think England would get this far? Or did they exceed your expectations? Are they not at your expectations yet?
We have got a good team this year. We did have a relatively easy group. So I did expect us to get out of the group stage. We then had Congo, who we should have beaten anyway. Um, I think I expected us to get through to the quarterfinals. If I'm being honest, I did expect us to get through to the quarterfinals. Um, there was a moment where I was like, Mexico, in the stadium where they've played like 52 games and only lost two ever. I was like, that's not a record that I particularly like. 50-2 is quite the record if you think about it in MMA terms. But yeah, so I think we've come through two very, very difficult games. I think Argentina play a game that's more our style. I think it's going to be a good game. I think Argentina probably do win it. But it'll be a great game. Plus, I'm having a barbecue, man. So I don't care. I'm full of burger meat at that point. I don't care.
You can be filled of booze as well to numb the
Oh
pain.
God, yeah,
There you
absolutely.
go. Yeah, it's what you're playing with house money, and then you even said like, "Hey, you got to keep me positive." And I was like, "I already know what I'm going to say if England loses." I was going to be like, "Hey, buddy, one, you can't control the outcome. Two, the
True.
sun's going to come up tomorrow, and three, not only does the 5-star start on Friday on Saturday, night two is Sunday, night three is Monday.
Really is.
Sendai girls, we got Shuri versus Hashimoto. If you're into Tokyo Joshi Pro, we got the big show coming up this weekend, and their tournament starts on Monday as well. So I mean, really, how long can you be down for, buddy? You know what I mean? Got air in your lungs, Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega at Wembley Stadium. Like, Come on, man. Like, this is life's all about. You know what I mean? Me and you're going to get matching Aussie tattoos in Birmingham while the
Yeah.
girls go to that cat cafe that you told me about.
Mate, oh, I was having the time of my life in that.
I told Amber about that. I think after about so much wrestling and so much Aussie and me crying every 10 feet when we walk in
Yeah,
Birmingham, I think that we have to take them to the cat cafe.
absolutely. I can tell you now, Kirsty will have absolutely no complaints about that whatsoever. Kirsty, we're going to go see some cats. Okay, absolutely. Yeah, why not? Let's get some Aussie tattoos. Fuck it.
Rob throwing up the F word.
It's all right. We'll bleep that out.
You're allowed one. Who cares? It's Aussie.
Yeah.
It's the mulligan.
You're allowed.
Long live.
It won't change our podcast to expletive. It's fine, or explicit. Sorry, should I say? Anyway, let's talk then. Let's bring it back to the 5-star Grand Prix, because believe it or not, that's actually what we're here for. And we've already made this podcast longer than it needs to be, because it's already going to be about 4.5 hours. But for those who aren't aware, for those that are new to Stardom, first of all, hello, welcome. But the 5-star Grand Prix is, for all intents and purposes, Stardom's version of the G1 Climax, where it is a round-robin tournament with the winner getting a title shot at the championship of their choosing. Ordinarily, it is the World of Stardom Championship, and it has been the World of Stardom Championship since 2018. So the chances of it being any other championship, very, 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 very slim. But
look out, Ronnie, you got me.
Exactly. Stranger things have happened. And I say getting the title shot, this is the 15th iteration of the 5-star Grand Prix this year. And of all of the tournament winners, 15, by the way, different winners, 14 different winners of the 14 tournaments so far. Nobody's won it twice. There have only been 4 people who've gone on to win the championship, which is madness when you consider it. And the last one to do it was actually Julia in 2022, Suzu in 23, Micah in 24, and Momo Watanabe last year, all unsuccessful when they cashed in their opportunity. So we are due, Matt, a successful cash-in of the 5-star Grand Prix crown. But it all depends on who wins the tournament this year. And boy, howdy, have we got some theories today.
Sure do, sir. And you just mentioned 2022, with Julia was the last one to cash in to win. Julia was actually the last one to take her shot at Dream Queendom, which I just never understand, that like you win the big tournament, like wait to the big show.
Suzu technically, although it was a vacant belt.
Yeah, so I guess you can kind of yes, kind of no, but you see my point. But even the G1, as Rob just mentioned, this is Stardom's version of the G1, just with better wrestlers. Yes, I said it. Yes, you can quote me. Boom. But even the G1, the last 2 years, with the cash to winning and Sabre winning, they didn't wait until the Tokyo Dome like we normally would, which I don't know. It's the grueling tournament. You should be rewarded by the end of the year show. So I understood certain bookings, especially the whole getting to the Saya Tam match 2 years ago. So that I get, but hopefully this year's winner does wait until the end of the year with Dream Queendom, which we're assuming is going to be Sumo Hall. And boy, howdy, do I have some theories on what I think that main event is going to be, my friend. What I think it possibly could be, and how this tournament sets up a lot of stuff other than really, really above average wrestling.
I mean, to be fair, I do think that the Momo Watanabe match could have taken place at Dream Queendom. Had they got a blockbuster match, now obviously Saya and Cioriano, which we did get at Dream Queendom, was tremendous match. Definitely not complaining.
But Momo was hurt, so maybe they fast forward it. Yeah,
absolutely. Obviously they did the Micah Tam match because they were doing Tam and Saya at Dream Queendom, which made sense. But yeah, I'll be disappointed if we don't get this winner going on to Dream Queendom. Just very, very quickly, in terms of points, it is exactly the same as the G1 if you follow New Japan Pro Wrestling, which means that it's 2 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, 0 points for a loss. As last year, the top 3 from each block will go on to the playoffs at Korakuen Hall. That will then whittle down to quarterfinals, a semi-final, and then ultimately the final in Ryogoku. The first time ever that Stardom have run the finals of the 5-star Grand Prix at Ryogoku Kokugikan on the 23rd of August, which is huge news. And just before we kick into some numbers regarding the 5-star Grand Prix and the history of the 5-star Grand Prix, Stardom did announce that they are opening up even more seating at Ryogoku. Such is the demand for tickets for that show. I believe the way that they were setting it up, they were keeping one side free for the staging, and for the cool Tron and stuff like that. Apparently they've decided against that, and they've now opened up that other side. So it wouldn't surprise me if they touch the number they got in December last year. I think this could be a very, very good number.
I was talking about this with Andy Header on our trip on over the weekend, which we will cover. That'll be covered on the Stardom cast because we have enough to talk about here and talk Joshi. But we were looking at where the tickets were, and all but 5 sections are either sold out or nearing a sellout. For we don't know what the finals are going to be. We don't know what special matches are going to be on there because again, it's only 3 tournament matches: the finals of the Red Stars, the finals of the Blue Stars, your overall final. So if Suzu, Hanan, aren't in the finals, it's a good chance and really smart chance that we do see a championship match, or maybe a red belt, maybe a white belt, maybe Shuri defends the IWGP on that show to get to that 9,000-10,000. But I wouldn't be shocked for just how hot the company is. And again, this is a really cool thing. The fact that that they're betting on the fact there's going to be so much buzz going in this final that they can put the 8 to 9 to 10,000 people in Sumo Hall for the tournament final. So again, we'll see, but it looks like the tickets are red hot. Pun definitely intended there, my friend.
So just a little bit of by the numbers in terms of the 5-star Grand Prix. So 15, which is the times the 5-star Grand Prix has run, including this year coming up in 2026. 102, Matt, total competitors in 5-star Grand Prix history. 32, which is the competitors, which makes this the joint largest field in 5-star Grand Prix history. 4, which is the amount of previous winners in this year's tournament: Maika, Suzu Suzuki, Momo Watanabe, and, of course, the returning Utami Hayashishita, who won the tournament in 2020. 5, the amount of tournament debutantes: Maki Ito, Kikyo Furusawa, Akira Kuragane, Tsukiyoki, and Rina Yamashita, all debuting during this year's tournament. 44, with an asterisk, which is the amount of first-time singles matchups. I will just say now, it's 44 at the moment. Obviously, just before we recorded this podcast, it was confirmed that Bea Priestley would not be taking part in the tournament. She's had to withdraw because of the broken nose she sustained at the hands of a vicious Ann Kanai. Obviously, we wish Bea nothing but the best and a speedy recovery, but at the time of recording, Tuesday the 14th, which is also when this episode drops, we haven't heard a replacement yet. And we'll speculate when we get to talking about Blue Stars who that replacement could be. Because again, Matt has got some wild theories about inflatable pandas and all sorts that it could be. So bear with us there. 4 again, which is the amount of people who've made it to more than one final: Yoko Bito, Utami Hayashishita, Maika, and of course last year's winner, Momo Watanabe. 11, most tournament appearances ever: Mayu Iwatani, obviously, of course. In terms of tournaments that someone in the field this year currently has taken part in, 10, which is Momo Watanabe. 0, as I mentioned before, the amount of people who have won the tournament more than once. Matt's favorite statistics coming up. Are you ready for this? 48, which is the most total block match victories.
Oh, okay.
Which is from Mayu Iwatani. This is the one, Matt. 34, most total block match losses. Who holds that record, Matt?
We haven't done the humming theme in a while, but I'll do it. Tam Nakano, because we thought she was coming back. Obviously, maybe can you imagine if it's her that she's the mystery person and she loses like everyone just to add to that record. That'd be terrible.
Oh my God, be incredible. Last couple 60.67, 60.47, getting ahead of myself. Highest block win percentage of any competitor this year. Matt, just for a little bit of guessing game, who do you think has got the highest block win percentage then? In terms of someone in this tournament?
Utami, because she made it to the finals twice and was eligible quite a bit. So I'm going to say Utami has the highest win percentage. Do I have that right?
You don't. 50% for Micah. For Utami. I've just spoiled it.
Oh, you know what? Micah was my next one because she had 100%. Yeah, so that bumps up the average. That, which again goes into a theory that I have, my friend. Technically, Micah has not lost a 5-star Grand Prix match in the last 2 years because obviously she wasn't in last year. That's very much like saying me and you have never lost a 5-star Grand Prix match. So kudos to you, buddy. Congratulations for never losing a 5-star Grand Prix match.
It is true. That is just fact, my friend. I am unbeaten.
Put that in your notes.
Do you know what? I'm gonna put that on my next one. Okay, bear with me. 16, which is the highest ever block points total. Matt, can you remember who got that amount of points?
Oh, I'm almost positive it was in 2022, right?
It was in 2022. Both of them were in 2022, which should make this easier.
Okay, Tam and Julia,
both block winners. 8 seconds. The shortest match in tournament history. Matt, who was it?
Was it Saki Kashima?
It was. Can you remember who it was against, though?
Oh, was it against the late, great Hana Kimura, the year that Hana won it, 2019.
It was 2019. And then finally, 12 minutes and 2 seconds, the highest average 5-star Grand Prix match time of any competitor in this year's tournament, which is Rina. And also 100%, which is the record that myself and Matt have in 5-star Grand Prix matches. We are completely unbeaten. You're welcome. Absolutely. If you all could start clapping, unless you're driving, don't do that. Don't start clapping if you're driving, guys. Keep hands on the wheel. But let's sort of delve into these blocks then. We're going to start with Red Stars A. Currently, and I say currently because, of course, card is always subject to change and those dastardly injuries. Currently, the block is Sayaka Kurara, Tomoka Inaba, Azumi, Itsuki Aoki, Micah, Natsuko Tora, Rina, and the woman we're going to start talking about, Akira Kuragane. One of my favorite things, and again, if you're watching this on YouTube, all of the statistics that we're going to go through are on the screen. I will also put these on social media as well, so you get to see them on there. One of the things that I love about putting these things together is I get to remember, or I get to find out some of these wrestlers' nicknames, which I'd got no idea they had. This is one of them, but it sounds like a Dragon Ball Z character. Hot-blooded Iron Fist, Akira Kuragane. That might be, Matt, the coolest nickname in Stardom history.
Or it could sound like a shot that you get at a CD bar outside of Shinjuku. Like, do you guys have the hot-blooded Iron Fist?
There you go.
You have to know the code. You know what I mean? Yeah, you'd have to know the code. Like in I think it was Ace Ventura, New England clam chowder. Is that the red or the white? Can never remember that. Before we get started, buddy, I obviously want to put you over huge. You did a phenomenal job last year. For our YouTube viewers, doing all of these slides. I know how much effort, energy, and really love and passion you put into it. So I love. And one of the many reasons why I love doing these episodes is because I learned so much just on your research. So again, kudos to you and thank you so much for doing such of the heavy lifting, my friend. I'm really excited to go through all of these. So yes, hot-blooded Iron Fist. So that is.
There you go. It's quite the nickname, isn't it?
Hot damn. You know what? I mean, we might have to place who's got the best nickname. So that one's obviously we're starting off with a banger, but that one might be tough to beat. This is a great showing for Akira. We didn't know, where the seeding was going to go or who was going to be into the playoffs, just because all of these younger wrestlers have looked so good, with Emma, with Ann Kanai. We weren't sure who was going to wind up. Akira made the most sense just because they put a lot of steam behind her, especially towards the end of last year's tag league, teaming with Bozilla. And she's been doing really great work leading up to this, even though we do kind of joke, not joke. We do joke that whenever there's like a multi-person match, and there's a lot of like main eventers in there, and then we see Akira, like Akira's gonna look good, but she's gonna be the one to eat the pinfall or get the the tower, have the tap out here. So I think this is definitely something she has certainly earned. She's in a great block with a lot of great wrestlers, former world champions like Sayaka Kurora, former world champions like Micah, world beaters like Azumi. The match I might be looking forward to the most, though, is her and Tomoka Inaba. The styles make fights. I think that is going to be an absolute barn burner. I'm looking forward to what she's going to do in this tournament. Look what did it for Rian. Rian came out so much a better wrestler than she did going in last year. And I think Akira is in a better place now than Rian was last year. So I don't see Akira getting a lot of wins here, but I see her having a lot of really great matches. So yeah, I'm excited for her opportunity here. But again, maybe one, maybe sneak on the 2 points, maybe on the Tora, maybe on the Arena. Again, we'll see what happens. But I'm really looking forward to her performance in this year's 5-star Grand Prix.
Yeah, of course, it's a tournament debut. Got to this by winning her qualifying match against Kyoko Katatsu, which was an interesting matchup, to be fair. And I think Akira sort of showed that resilience in that match that she's undoubtedly going to need in this block. I mean, you've just got to look at her record. She hasn't recorded a single victory over anyone in this block at any point. Has losing records against everyone apart from the 3 people that she's having first-time matchups with, which are Natsuko Tora, Azumi, and Micah. Micah, of course, on the final night. That match that you were talking about, Matt, on the 8th of August against Tomoka Inaba is in Sapporo on the 8th of August. So very much looking forward to that. But yes, I would be surprised if Akira gets a single point here. I imagine that we will be talking at the end of this during the finals, very akin to Uriah Himi's tournament last year, to Rian's tournament last year, where had a very good showing against some very, very good in-ring opponents, but I don't see her recording a single victory in this tournament. But it's not about that. And we said that when we were talking about the qualifiers. It's not about this for her. It's not about this for Kikyo Furusawa either. It's about performances. It's about development. So looking forward to that. We move on then to the high-speed bomb girl, Azumi, last year's runner-up, her 7th tournament appearance for Azumi, a tournament record of 33, 28, and 3, and a block winning percentage of 50%. This is a really interesting one, Matt, because obviously being one half of the Goddesses of Stardom champions with Miyu Amasaki, she does come into this tournament with a little bit of a target on her back, as do all champions. With her being a finalist last year, a great showing last year.
Unbelievable.
Obviously, the year before had that fantastic 1-2-3 punch with Mei Seira and Tomoka Inaba. Again, Tomoka Inaba, who she's 1-0-1 with. Got to face her on the 25th of July, which is very exciting. Believe that's in Kanazawa. I don't think she gets through this block. It would not surprise me, because if you look at who she's got on the final night of block action, Rina, who, of course, Stardom very, very high on, and rightly so. Rina, who I think will get another push. I wouldn't be surprised if Azumi needs a victory at Act City on the 16th of August, and Rina is the person to stop her. Again, you look at her record against Rina, 4-1. She's very dominant over Rina. Beat her last year, of course. But it would not surprise me if Rina stops Azumi going through.
That could be like the play-in match. We always know, even a few years ago when they would do the final night, is like, here's who's still, in play, and you just had the final 2 people, whoever won red. There was only the Red Stars and the Blue Stars. That we would always zero in on that final night, like what could be the play-in match. And I think once these brackets were announced, I think we all pointed to this match with the Azumi and Rina, where that is probably going to be a play-in match. I just don't think, for how great their tournaments were last year, and I'm going to touch upon that in a second, for how great they were last year and how fantastic that they are. And not only are they great wrestlers, but obviously they've been both on worldwide TV, especially Rina, quite a bit lately. There's a massive push behind Rina, as you mentioned. I don't think when we go to that show in Act City on the 16th, where it's like, oh, this is just for points, like Azumi's already the 1 seed, Rina's already clinched the 2 seed. Like, no, it's going to be for probably the final seat for either the 2 or the 3. So Yeah, it's gonna be interesting where they go there. Now, Azumi and Rina. I did a full review for our Patreon listeners. I did a full review of Rina's entire run last year of the 2025 5-star Grand Prix. Again, it's on for you Patreon members. It is on the feed. When I went back and watched those, and again, that was Rina's first year in the tournament. I went back and watched those. Every match was great, but my two favorite matches of Rina's were the two Azumi matches. The one in regular play, as I call it, in Cork and Hall, and that phenomenal semifinals match on the five star final. I thought they were terrific, and it's crazy. Like Azumi might be a better wrestler now than she was last year, which is scary to say. And Rina definitely is, which is kind of scary to say. Yes, you mentioned Azumi. She did make it to the finals last year. In my opinion, as far as match quality goes, Azumi's run in last year's 5-star Grand Prix is the best ever. I mean, just what a truly special wrestler when you can have like multiple must see 5-star matches in the same night. That's really something. So we'll get into it. I totally see your point with her and Rena. I think that's what it's going to come down to. That might be the most important match in the entire 5-star Grand Prix on that night. But I mean, look who she's opening with, Micah. We mentioned on the Stardom Cast the last few weeks, and obviously we'll talk about it when we review the Corkin show on the Stardom Cast proper in a few days, partner, that these little mini matches we've been seeing with Azumi and Micah to build up to their championship match have been great. Their match in the main event in Cork and Hall last week was phenomenal, especially the stuff with Azumi and Micah. And the only other time Azumi and Micah have had a big match in the 5-star Grand Prix, or at least recently, was, as you mentioned, a couple years ago when Azumi had to wrestle 3 times with Tomoka Inaba and May Sarah, and then went on to wrestle Micah in the main event. Now, they've had 5-star Grand Prix matches before, but that's before the big main event push to Micah. That's before the big main event push to Azumi. They're bigger and better wrestlers now. What a great way to really start off the tournament for Azumi than to be taking on Micah. And then she's got to come back a couple days later on the 25th, basically Christmas in July, Rob, because it is 7/25 as we get Azumi and Tomoka Inaba. And I'm really circling the next day against former champion Sayaka Kurora, because I think Sayaka Kurora could be one that does go through into the playoffs coming off that. She had that little championship run, but at the same time, she was in the main event of a show that sold 8,000 tickets. And you always have to pay attention to Natsuko Tora. Tora loves playing spoilers to our fan favorites, like that damn Tora. So, yeah, really looking forward to Azumi's run, one of my favorite wrestlers in all of wrestling right now. Again, her tournament last year, unbelievable from a match quality standpoint, and was just so close of taking home the crown. I'm looking forward to see if she can make another run in this year's block.
For someone who's never made a tournament final, Natsuko Tora is a very good tournament wrestler, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. That Micah match, like you mentioned, on the 20th is very, very exciting. There are a lot of wrestlers who don't start their tournaments till very late, especially in blue stars like Starlight Kid and Saya Kamatani don't start till like the 28th of July, I don't think, which is 10 days after the tournament starts. Moving on to another tournament debutante, it is Mivida Loca's Itsuki Aoki. Has only wrestled one singles match against anyone in her block before, and it was a victory against poor Akira Gorogane. She's an unknown quantity in terms of the 5-star Grand Prix. She's an unknown quantity in terms of singles matches against anyone in her block. What we have seen from her is that she is a very capable wrestler, someone who is very entertaining, someone who is very unpredictable. And I think that style against someone like Natsuko Tora on the 25th of July, I think that's very exciting. I think her and Tomoka Inaba on the opening night on the 18th in Ota Ward, very, very exciting there. And I would genuinely circle as a bit of a dark horse match, her versus Micah on the 9th of August as well. I think that's one to keep your eye on as well. She's someone that I don't anticipate breaking the top 3, but she's someone that I can see getting 2 or 3 victories over the likes of obviously Akira, hot-blooded Iron Fist, maybe a Tomoka Inaba to sort of set her stall out early in the tournament, maybe even a Sayaka Kurora, who is another interesting one that I'm looking forward to talking about a little bit later on.
I know there's a lot of Stardom fans that really only strictly watch Stardom, and they don't really get to see what Aoki and Rina Yamashita, who part of Mivida Loca, do outside of the Stardom bubble, and they're really special talents So when these two got announced, I was like, oh boy, howdy. The Stardom fan base are really going to be able to see how great Aoki and Rina Yamashita are. You're absolutely right. I mean, probably the perfect fitting for Izuki Aoki, like the matchup, is Tomoka Inaba. Smash mouth, right in your face. You're going to get struggle. Styles make fights. And then she's got Tora coming up the week after that. And that is going to be a match where I think you're going to see a lot of rules, Ben, Rob. I just don't think you're going to see that Billy Robinson, Johnny Saint, Steve Gray World of Sport style match with her
You'd
and
be
Tora.
surprised,
Can you
wouldn't you?
imagine it's
Yeah.
like big lockup, headlock, takeover, tackle, drop down, get it again? That's going to be bowling shoe ugly. I think the match with Kira, as you mentioned, is going to be great. And she's ending her tournament against Micah. So again, another really interesting one to watch out for. I think maybe she'll get maybe four, like maybe 3 or 4 points. I think match quality wise, Rob, I think that she's going to do really, really well. And I think she's going to open up a lot of eyes into what she can do. Now, Mr. Rob Goodwin, I just want to have an exclusive here, not only for you, but for our YouTube fans. But the third man in the group has just sent me a picture, and I'm going to see if you can see this. One Andy Header found this soda out in the wild, and he said Rob Goodwin is moving up in the world. I don't know if you can see it.
Down.
Oh, there it is.
Dr. Goodwin.
You have your own soda, buddy.
I do. Yes, damn right.
There it is. So, ladies and
Franchise this name.
There it is. I tell you what, you're an author of not only wrestling books, but romance novels as well.
Apparently.
And undefeated in the 5-star Grand Prix, buddy.
100% record of matches I've never had.
I don't want to jinx anything. You got a lot of momentum going into your country's match tomorrow. So,
well, if they can channel that, we'll all be very, very happy. It is worth pointing out as well that Stardom have used matches before to set up title matches elsewhere. Izuki Aoki is the Regina the Wave champion in Pro Wrestling Wave, so it could be a chance to set up title matches there. So again, there is, again, a loss to Tomoka Inaba could set up a title match there. I think she's still the Regina the Wave champion. Yeah, I'm sure she is. I'm sure she's gone into the Catch the Wave tournament as the champion. I'm sure she is. Someone's going to correct me. Yeah, someone's going to correct me, I'm sure. Micah, obviously, Crimson Cannon Fire, Micah, which again, love that because I completely forgot that was her nickname. Didn't participate in last year's tournament because of injury, so will undoubtedly be coming at this tournament with Cannon Fire. Undoubtedly, her 6th tournament. She obviously won it back in 2024, a 29-14-4 record. Again, as we mentioned during the numbers section, 60.47% block match winning percentage. She wins in the blocks. That's what Micah does. Now, obviously, is this the same Micah that was leading EXV before the injury? I'm not sure. But she's someone that I see certainly going through this block. If not as the top seed, certainly as one of the top 3. Again, one match that sticks out. We're talking about her a lot here, and probably rightly so, because I don't think we talk about her enough. Natsuko Tora. Only losing record that Micah has is against Natsuko Tora. 3 singles matches against Tora and has not won a single one. So circle that date in your diaries. 28th of July, Natsuko Tora versus Micah. Obviously, the history with Tomoka Inaba, or, going back to the JTO days, they have got another match on the 26th of July, that match with Azumi that's opening up both her and Azumi's tournaments on the 20th. An unknown quantity, her against Sayaka Carrara on the 25th of July, her against Rina on the 8th in Sapporo. Micah's got a really interesting tournament here. I feel like she's come back from injury. Obviously, EXV dissolved after that fight with Mavida Loca. She seemed, obviously, I know she's coming off the back of the Goddesses of Stardom Championship title challenge with Hanako, but I think everyone who watches Stardom semi-regularly knew that O2 Line were dropping the belts to Micah and Hanako. It feels like Micah has been a little bit directionless almost since EXV have folded. Maybe this is the way that Micah gets that direction back, that Crimson Cannon Fire back, maybe. What are your thoughts?
First of all, what happened to the Empress? Is that when she changed her music? It's like if you change your music, you have to lose
Well,
maybe that's what it is.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, I think that's why they lost at Corrigan Hall. Because why would you change something that is perfection? I will stand by that. I love this company. Hate their decision to change Micah's theme. I am more aggrieved by that change of theme than I am of the Hannon theme, and that hurt me on a personal level.
Where do you stand on the new theme of somebody who could be the replacement for B. Priestley, Suri? Where do you stand on that one, buddy? Because that old one was a banger. What do you think is Suri's new theme?
I do like it. It's going to take a while to grow on me because Suri's theme was just synonymous with her. Like, it's a banger, and it's one of those wrestling. You can get quite generic wrestling themes, apart from at that at the Oz Academy show when we've had the wrestler who comes out to Hailstorm, and we heard it like 15 times, and it's great. Soroya Matsumoto, her theme, and I was like, oh my God, that's incredible. But you can get quite generic themes, whereas the moment that Suri's theme hits, you're like, that's Suri. And I don't quite feel like you get that with the new theme. Again, it might be because it's new. Obviously, I know that Suri's been out for a month or so with a neck injury, but again, I am a sucker for the old ways. Stop changing things. Stop changing things. Nothing changes for the better, Matt. Nothing. Not one thing.
Wow. You got to evolve, buddy. You got to evolve. Back to Micah. I'm going to get another load of block. I'm looking forward to that Sayaka Kurora match, the Izumi match. I know who I have my picks, the 3 picks to go into the playoffs. I am pretty darn sure Micah is a lock.
She has to be.
Yes, because you mentioned she's direct. I think just they didn't have anything for her. They had so much other stuff going on that Chris Jericho saying if you give everybody the massive push that nobody gets over. And I think right now it's just like we don't have anything for Micah. Let's let all these other stories play out. And let's build Micah back up in the 5-star Grand Prix. How I would book Micah, Rob, is I would not have her lose. I'd have her go in undefeated going into the playoffs. Now I may have a time limit draw, or a double count out. But I would make it look like, wow, she hasn't lost. She didn't lose in 2024. She's the only wrestler in the history of this tournament to win the tournament with no draws, no losses, clean sweep the whole thing. Julie never did it. Io never did it. Kyrie never did it. Like, she's the only wrestler in the history of this company, this 15-year history company, that has never, or that went through the tournament with no loss and no draw. And I would have that going as a theme going on. Again, maybe a draw here or there, but like, she drew, but she didn't lose. And I would have her actually go undefeated going into the playoffs. I think that would really pump Micah up post 5-star Grand Prix. Again, I think the match with Kurora is going to be great. Azumi, Tomoka, but her and Tomoka are going to have great chemistry. I mean, they had such a great match back 2 years ago when Micah was World of Stardom champion in Corkin Hall. Vittora won. I think she gets off the O. I think she gets off that goose egg. I think she gets the win with Tora. And one of the many, many, many reasons why I think that Micah is going to be a sure lock to make the playoffs is she has the Kira on the final night. And I think that'll be that'll be a good match. And of course, Micah will give her a great match and there'll be some falsies, but I think that'll be almost a foregone conclusion there. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that Micah not only wins this block, Rob, but I'll tell you right now, she's going to be my number 1 seed coming out of Red Stars A here.
Yeah, it certainly wouldn't surprise me. I've spoilers, I've got her going through as well. She's the only one that I'm absolutely certain will go through, which probably means that she's going to finish bottom of the block, having not won a match, like Waka Tsukiyama going through last year's tournament, losing every match in 3 minutes. I think that match with Tora could be very interesting. Again, I feel like she needs the win, and that could be the turning point. I don't think she goes through unbeaten. I'd be very surprised. I think Tora's a potential stumbling block. I think Rena, the following match on the 8th of August in Sapporo, I think that's a potential stumbling block. Wouldn't surprise me if she loses against Azumi on the first night as well, to really set up the sort of backs against the wall approach that I know they like to do. So yeah, very interesting for Micah. And again, I know I said that she was directionless. That's not a knock by any stretch of the imagination. It is an observation. It's more a case of, she's not really done anything. She hasn't been in the title picture. She's been nowhere near the title picture, really, when you consider the fact that, I say that she was in the number 1 contendership match, but she was also the one pinned. So, she hasn't really been close. Moving on then to the intelligent monster, Natsuko Tora. Now that is a nickname. It's no Violent Freezer. We'll get to that. But the intelligent monster, Natsuko Tora, 6th tournament, best of block runner-up when she got the 12 points in 2023, went on an absolute tear in that tournament. I believe was 7-0 or something like that in the tournament. Not 7-0, sorry, 5-0 in the tournament, and then ended up sort of losing it in the final stretch, with Hazuki being the one to put the final nail into the coffin. All-time record of 17-21. Sort of middling tournament last year, 4-3, sort of locked in with quite a few people who got 4-3 and 8 points. I feel like for someone who is supposed to be the, quote unquote, the intelligent monster, the leader of hate, she's been, for all her dominance, quite disappointing in terms of getting the job done, of getting out of the block. Now that you have the playoffs, the quarterfinals, the semifinals, I actually think Tora is another strong favorite to go through this year. I don't know why that is, but I just have this feeling, because again, and we'll go through it when we've sort of gone through everybody. I think it's a good time to make your intelligent monster dominant again. Again, 3-0 victory record against Micah, 4-1. She is against Azumi. She'll want to erase that 0-1 record she's got against Tomoka Inaba on the 19th of July, and I'm sure she'll want to get revenge on Sayaka Kurara on the 9th of August as well. But for me, this tournament feels very important for Tora, because, again, we've said this multiple times, she's the leader of hate in name. It doesn't really feel like it in terms of whenever hate come out. When you've got the star power of Saya Kamatani, you've got Momo Watanabe coming back. Even people like Konami feel more in charge than Natsuko Tora does. I feel like with Momo coming back and the storyline with Saya Kamatani and Momo, a dominant run for Natsuko Tora, maybe getting through to the quarterfinals. You don't have to have her on the final four, but I think she's a great heel, sort of a heel stumbling block for a babyface in those playoffs and in those quarterfinals. She's an unpredictable competitor, as proved by her record. Again, 3-0 against Micah, 4-1 against Azumi. She's proven she can beat absolutely anyone in this roster. It wouldn't surprise me if she goes through and looks dominant doing so.
You made a lot of good points. I mean, think of everything going on with hate, the cracks in hate right now, where all the focus, not only in hate,
fishes now.
Yeah. Not only is all the focus in hate, but almost the company, with the exception of Suzu and Hana, because they're your champions, is on what's going on with Sai and Momo Watanabe. And then Konami obviously comes with that. We've seen Rina over here in the States sold out on, the ECW arena. I'm saying she didn't specifically sell out the recent arena, but you know what I mean. Maybe she
solely
did.
Her. Solely her.
People paid to see Rina. Obviously, she was on AEW TV quite a bit and had some really great performances there. So, you have a lot of stock now into Rina as well. So you did make a lot of great points. Like, how do we make Tora look like the leader that she is in this? And maybe she goes through in this bracket. I mean, this bracket's really tough, with the exception of, I nailed it on Micah. I really think Micah's going through. But we made mention of Azumi. Sayaka Kurora is the former champion, and she wants to build herself back up in this tournament. Rina made it to the semifinals last year. Azumi made it to the finals last year. Tomoka Inaba, I think, has got a really good shout as well, and only 3 people can go. So you made a really great point for Tora. Maybe Tora does get in there. I do see her winning quite a bit of matches in this tournament. I mean, she's opening up with Tomoka Inaba, and that, like, this bracket. If you took Tora out and we decide these names, and then we're like, okay, we can put one more person in this field, who would be perfect? I'm like, oh, it's Tora, because she's perfect with this, because of the hard-hitting nature of Tomoka Inaba, of Aoki, of Micah, of Akira. And then we did see her in the same block last year with Rina, with the Azumi, and they wrestled different styles, but the styles made sense. Like, it was a yin to the yang, but they really made sense. And then she's got Sayaka Kurara on that final night. So you have the ultimate babyface, underdog babyface of Sayaka Kurara, and the ultimate ass kicking heel in Natsuko Tora. Wouldn't be shocked if that is a match, Rob, that we do have on their final. That's going to determine who goes through there. So definitely pay close attention to that match on the 9th with her and Sayaka Kurara. I think wrestling wise, because Tora is great, she's going to have a really great tournament. But I think she's going to be like one of many going into that final week that does look like she has the opportunity to be a 2, a 3, or a 4 seed, which obviously the 4 seed would just miss out. So I'm expecting her to have a really good tournament. But you made a lot of good points, buddy. With everything going on with the hate faction, everybody's focusing on Rina wrestling all over the place. Konami backing up Momo in this Momo and Saya feud that looks like it's just about ready to explode, and we think it is going to explode sometime in this tournament. What's Fuking Death doing? Is she the mystery person and she clean sweeps the tournament? I mean, you can't rule that out, Rob. You can never go. Yeah, you can never. You got to be down like a clown, buddy. So there's
you never bet against the clown ever.
No. And don't get me wrong, I don't think Fuking Death has not lost in the 5-star Grand Prix the last 2 years. So you have to look at that. That's a fact.
Undeniable fact.
That's a fact. So I think the point that you did make sense, partner, that Tor does go through the playoffs. It does put her in, more positive light on her that like, hey, this is our leader of this hate faction. Despite everything going on, she's going to make this faction right by winning the tournament and then getting the belt back to put it back into hate. Could be a storyline that they could go with, and it would make sense. Do I think it's going to happen? I'm going to tell you folks in a little bit what my picks are. Not only my picks, but my wife's picks as well. What do these sheets say? What do they say? Oh.
Something else I want to say very briefly. Obviously, she takes on Rina on the 26th of July. I will be very interested to see how these hate versus hate matches pan out now, especially with, as you mentioned, those giant cracks that are evolving. Obviously, we saw Rina and Natsuko Tora have a good match last year. But, I wonder if there will be a little less camaraderie this year. And we'll see, again, as you mentioned, sort of the NWO Wolfpack sort of breaking away from hate, absolutely causing mass destruction. Speaking of Rina, the Pink Devil had quite the debut tournament last year in 2025, went all the way through to the semi-finals with a record of 6-3-1, 57.14% block match winning percentage. Was a real highlight of last year's tournament until she, like I mentioned, she got stopped in the semi-finals. Had 2 fantastic matches with Azumi in last year's tournament. And again, that rematch, as we mentioned before, is happening on the final night on the 16th of August. Rina is an interesting one because, again, very young, got through to the semi-finals last year. Now, I've gone backwards and forwards on this. I think she does beat Sayaka Kurara on the 19th of July. I think she opens with a victory there. Obviously beats Akira Kuragane to get that 2-0 start. And then I think she falls to Natsuko Tora. And I think it wouldn't surprise me if Rina doesn't go through this year because she went so far in the tournament last year. Again, it's a similar thing with Azumi. She got through to the final last year. So does she need another run into the playoffs and the quarterfinals? Now, if that happens and Rina does get through, I will be the first one applauding, going, hell yeah, love Rina, think she's fantastic. But I do think it will be Tora over Rina, even if it's simply because of the stupid reason that it was Rina last year. And Stardom clearly have a lot of stock in Rina. And again, if it is Rina, I'm certainly not complaining, Matt.
You know what's great about it's just an embarrassment of riches we have with Stardom, and just even in this first block, because like, is anybody can complain about Sayaka Kurora going through trying to build herself back up? No. Rina, no. Tora, again, we just talked about, it would make perfect sense. Azumi and Tomoka Inaba, 2 of the best wrestlers in the world. Micah, one of the best wrestlers in the world. It would really make sense for 5 or 6 of these wrestlers to go through. Unfortunately, only 3 can go through, and the fact that we just point out the reasons why it would make sense. I totally agree. I think Rena is going to get off to a really good start here. I think she'll beat Sayaka Kurora. I think she'll get the win in Akira. Tora can go kind of go either way. Boy, howdy, does anybody in this tournament have a harder match stretch? The final three matches than former tournament winner in Micah, absolute killer in Tomoka Inaba, and then the person that beat her not once but twice in last year's tournament in Azumi. So is the third time a charm for Rena? Again, we talked about Azumi. I think that match on the 16th is going to be one of the most important matches on that card, not only for match quality wise, but again for who may go through, who may be a 1 seed, a 2 seed, a 3 seed, or who may not even make the playoffs. I think that is going to be a big tall tale match. And again, Azumi beat her not once but twice in last year's tournament. Is Rena going to be able to outfox one Azumi? Only one way to find out, my friend, and that is tuning in on the 16th. I think even if Rena doesn't make the playoffs, I still think she's going to have, as far as match quality goes, a really great tournament because Rena is a really, really special wrestler. I don't think it's one of these things that if Rena doesn't make the playoff, you're like, oh, what are they doing with Rena? She's only 19 years old. And again, there's so many other stories in this bracket that would make sense. But at the same time, I could see her not only winning or going into the playoffs, maybe making another deep run like she did last year. And you got to keep in mind, not only did she make it to the semifinals of this tournament last year, but the last two Cinderella tournaments, she made it to the finals as well. So Rena is maybe the new era Hazuki, Rob. I don't know, where she's over
God.
so close.
Why would you put that in the universe? Good
because
Lord.
she's a great wrestler. She's a great wrestler. So that's what and she's got really great hair. So that's why I put that in the universe. Think positive, Rob. Think positive, especially when you guys are up 3-0 in 20 minutes tomorrow. Cheers, by the way, buddy.
Imagine.
You'll be hammered.
And I will.
Micah.
Absolutely Micah. Red Stars A has the exact opposite problem for me that Blue Stars A has. Obviously, we talked a little bit about how B. Priestley's injury, in my opinion, upsets the dynamics of that group, because I feel like B. Priestley was a dead cert to go through into the playoffs alongside Suzu Suzuki. And it was a case of, right, the rest are fighting over one spot. Whereas with B. Priestley now out of the tournament, obviously we don't know who that mystery opponent is yet. It leaves a position open for people who you wouldn't necessarily have thought were going to go through. And it's an opportunity for a lot of them. But I find this block hard because there's multiple people who I think can go through. Again, we just talked about them: Micah, Rena, Natsuko, Tora, Azumi, and we haven't even got to the former red belt champion Sayaka Kurara yet. Whereas in Blue Stars A, I'm like, Suzu's definitely going through, but who else are they going to put through? So it's difficult for a very different reason, and we'll obviously get to that. I just think it's quite interesting. Let's talk about the Tokamaki Spear herself, Sayaka Kurara, former World of Stardom champion, making her second tournament appearance. Wasn't the happiest of tournaments in 2025 for Sayaka Kurara, going 2-5 in the tournament, never really looking like she was going to get out of what was quite a difficult block anyway, when you consider it had Azumi, Starlight Kid, Tomoka Inaba in it, amongst others. It was a difficult group anyway. This year, she comes in with completely different stock. This year, she's not the Cosmic Angels lower mid-carder that she was in 2025. She is a former World of Stardom champion. She is in the same category as a Micah, as a Natsuko Tora, has won more than Azumi, than Rena, than Tomoka Inaba. But it'll be interesting to see which way they go. I've got a feeling that Stardom could go one of two ways. They could have her lose the majority of her matches and have her continue this redemption arc. This self-doubt after losing the red belt to Suzu. Am I good enough? Have I done enough? Am I good enough, or am I just a fluke? Or they have her squeak through on the final night, or again, I say the final night, her final match is Tora on the 9th of August. Beat Tora, squeak through, and make it into the playoffs, and then have a strong showing in the playoffs. I don't know as of yet, because again, I feel like there are stronger people in this tournament. However, Stardom are very high on Sayaka Kurara. We know that they are not opposed to, especially the current system, the current sort of booking committee are not opposed to doing the whole redemption arc during a block phase. We saw it with Tam Nakano, where she lost every single match in the block. Then got a red belt. Sean got the red belt, but that's by the by.
Damn right.
Afraid you need to stop that. What is that?
That's the thing she does when she's on the top row. I don't know what it is. I just always think she's pointing at me. I'm like, me?
I thought you were just getting a fly. But again, I look at her running. She opens with Akira Kuragane on the 19th of July, obviously. And I know a friend of the show, Kevin, is listening. He's yelling at me because I know that Sayaka Kurara is one of his favorites. I just don't see who she beats. But I didn't see her beating Saya Kamatani in Yokohama. So who am I to talk about this? I think she wins against Akira Kuragane. Again, she could get a win against Rina. She's 1-3 against Rina at the moment. Obviously beat her in the Cinderella tournament final in 2025. So has got previous of beating Rina in big match situations. First ever match against Tomoka Inabe on the 20th of July. Now that could be a very, very interesting match. Much as I love Tomoka Inabe, and we are going to talk about Tomoka, obviously, as the last person in Red Stars 8, I don't see Tomoka Inabe getting through. I think Maika beats her. I think Azumi probably beats her as well, if I'm being perfectly honest. Again, Sayaka Kurara, I think this is because the red belt change really threw me. I think had she come in as red belt champion, she was a dead cert to go through the blocks. Because it's very rare, especially in the new system where you've got multiple people going through the blocks, it's very rare you have the red belt champion go out before the playoffs or before the quarterfinals or the semifinals. But now that she's lost it and looking at her record, I just don't know. I
think the promo that she did as soon as she lost the belt to Suzu on her birthday really got the sympathy. It really got a lot more sympathy behind her. She's a proven ticket draw. Now, granted, does she have the Stardom machine behind her? Yes. Has she done really well with that? Yes. I mean, that Saya Kamatani match was an epic. I know you might be saying, well, Matt, it's Saya Kamatani. When a match is that good, it takes more than one person. So I thought the Maki Ito match was good. The Suzu match was phenomenal.
Suzu match was great.
Phenomenal. And we've seen her had really great matches over the last year and a half, but she's really upped her game since the end of April. So I think this can be a big tall tale tournament for Sayaka Kurara. You're absolutely right. The company is really, really behind her. And again, she's in a tournament. She's going to have a lot of great matches because we've seen her. Her and Rina were the finals of last year's Cinderella tournament. Phenomenal. Her and Smoke Inaba are going to absolutely crush it. Her and Micah are going to have a great match. Her and Azumi is going to be terrific because we've seen them have great matches before. Now Kurara's on this another level. But again, I mentioned it with Tora. I think that is going to be a knockout match between the two of them. I think that whoever wins that is going to be the one to go through. And I would not be shocked if it is Sayaka Kurara. I think that she'll be, this is the redemption arc. That's one of the biggest stories in Red Stars A is Sayaka Kurara wins the belt, shocks the world, has this great match with Maki Ito, sells out the building, is doing really well drawing as champion on these quote unquote house shows. And now it's like, okay, she loses the belt after having one of the shortest reigns in company history. How is she going to build herself back up? And they have her in the perfect bracket to do it. Do I think she's going to win the whole 5-star Grand Prix? I'm going to say no, but I think she's going to make a really good run, Rob. I think that when this tournament is all said and done and her tournament is all said and done, we'll be like, wow, that is somebody that Stardom put a lot of stock into, and it's clearly working out for them. So I'm excited to see what she does here. In spoilers, I will say that she does make the playoff, buddy. I think she beats Tora on that final night, and that gives her enough points to get into the playoffs.
I think because there's another week of block action after Tora and Sayaka Kurara, and that's obviously both of their final match, it's unlikely that both go through.
I agree.
Again, I'm just not convinced. I think a match against Suzu was phenomenal. I really enjoyed that. I thought the storytelling in the match was great, was fantastic with Saya Kamatani, damn near perfect, in fact, against Saya Kamatani. The match against Maki Ito was good and a lot better than I thought it was going to be fair. Probably Maki Ito's best singles match in about 2 years, arguably. Certainly in Stardom anyway. But I just wonder if they're going to cool her off and then build her up again. Maybe
it's
next
a possibility.
Year. That's my thing.
I think that if she doesn't make the playoffs, I think it's something where, I just mentioned that knockout match with Tor, but I can see her like winning one match and continuing the downward spiral. And then she uses the fall to build herself back up. And then maybe she gets a big win on like a mid-card match in Sumo Hall. Again, if they're doing Sumo Hall for Dream Queendom. So again, we'll find out. But again, a lot of questions going into this tournament, especially in Red Stars A, that I'm really looking forward to.
Who do you think goes further in this tournament? Sayaka Kurara or Aya Sakura?
You know what? I don't even know. I did this last night, but I both have them going pretty far. Let's see where I don't. I forget what I had. I wrote it down, and then I'm like, I need to go to bed because I'm going to keep questioning myself, and I need to get my 4 hours.
We can leave it till we get to Blue Stars A if you want.
Yeah. I think I have them going about the same distance.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Final member of Red Stars A, then, it is the one-hit kill Tomoka Inaba, which, again, talking about great nicknames, certainly up there. Third tournament for Tomoka, who, of course, has been out injured for a bit. We haven't seen her in Stardom for a while. She did come back for the Fuji show. So it was great to see her. Was block runner-up back in 2024, and as we've already mentioned, had a great triangle series with Azumi and Meisera, was a really good competitor last year in a loaded Red Stars B block with Starlight Kid and Azumi. It was a very, very good block. Has a deceptively high block win percentage as well, 53.85%, but comes into this tournament again. I feel like she's not quite got enough to go through. And again, you look at who she opens. She opens with Itsuki Aoki on the 18th in Ota Ward. I think that's going to be a really good match. I think that's going to be a low-key banger and one to look out for. Certainly that match against Tora on the 19th. I think that could really set the stall for both women's tournaments. I think if Tomoka Inaba wins that match, I think that sets her on a really good path. I think if she loses to Tora, then I think that sort of sets the mark that she's not going through. I know it's only one match, but I do see that as the indicator. Obviously, we're very excited to watch the Tomoka Inaba Azumi match again, who she's got an 0-1-1 record against on the 25th. Maika, because of all that history there with JTO, that's on the 26th of July. Obviously, I think she gets the win over Akira because, spoiler, I think everybody beats Akira. Sorry, Akira. And then obviously Rina as her final match as well. So Rina's actually got a lot of say in people's tournaments, which is interesting. But Tomoka Inaba, I expect to be getting something similar to last year's record of 4 3 and 8 points. Something similar to that for the one-hit kill.
Wouldn't be shocked at that Rina match on the 9th, since again that's Tomoka Inaba's last match, but then Rina has one more, the Izumi match, which we did talk about a few times. I wouldn't be shocked if that's a match that both need to win. And then, speaking of winning, did Spain? What's going on here, buddy?
Spain have just scored again. It's 2-0 Spain.
2-0. And they don't have 3-point shots in soccer that they have,
do not.
In the NBA.
They do not. You don't have conversions. Or
conversion. The conversion that was last month. Anywho,
again, it doesn't matter because again, I imagine England are going to lose to Argentina tomorrow anyway. But I would rather play Spain than play France.
Stay positive, buddy. I got you tomorrow. Don't worry about that. That's 3:00 my time, 8:00 your time. I think, right?
It is indeed. I'm going to be about 8 pints deep.
The reason why I knew that's usually the time we record, and I saw that was I'm on my gym. At my gym, they had Sports Center on. And said what time it started. I was like, yeah, there's no way Rob's podcast will be on Wednesday.
Well, I did text you. I was like, no.
Because I text you.
Can you do Wednesday? No.
I text you the schedule because there's so much going on. I promised Smoking Bear fans we'll get into it. And as soon as I sent it, I was like, Oh yeah, that's right. I did notice at the game. I just want to tell you what the schedule was because I knew you'd be
Yeah.
moving something. So communication is key in any relationship, folks. Communication is key. Anywho, Tomoka Inaba, again, massive fan of Tomoka Inaba.
Mhm.
I agree. I just think because you have Micah, you have Tori, you have Azumi, Sayaka Kurora, the potential redemption story, and Rina in there, I don't think she goes through. However, no, I don't think anybody, with the exception of you, partner, really thought Rina was going to go through and do the damage she did last year.
She did a lot of
Wouldn't be
damage.
shocked or upset if Tomoka Inaba does go through. I'm a massive fan of her. Is she good enough to be in the upper echelon of Stardom? Yes. I just don't. I just think there's so many other stories going on right now that it's not Tomoka's time. Could I be dead wrong? And then Tomoka, sweeps the whole entire block. I'd be like, sure, 'cause I'm such a massive fan of Tomoka Inaba. I don't think she gets there. But if you do remember, last year she did defeat Starlight Kid in night one. And then earned a championship match at the Stardom to the World Show right after for the Wonder of Stardom Championship. Unfortunately, there's no champions in this tournament in this block except Izumi
Whoa.
and Sayaka Kurora, the New Blood
Thank you.
champion. Yes,
The
hold on.
prestigious New Blood Tag Team Championships been defended twice in almost 300 days.
Well, maybe you said Aoki. You think she's a catch the wave, so that's a match. If they go back, I'd see that. I want to see that.
I could see Tomoka Inaba pinning Itsuki Aoki and going for that championship on a wave show. What, she won't be champion now, but I'm 99% sure she's still champion.
However,
I'm gonna Google it while you're talking.
Tomoka Inaba did defeat Mirai to win the JTO championship, which was streamed live, buddy. Did you see that?
I watched that and
live.
the Saya Kamatani match. They're both very good.
Fantastic. But yeah, I'm always a massive fan of Tomoka Inaba. We don't get to see her have a lot of singles matches in Stardom because they're mostly tag, but she gets this blockbuster block of Aoki, Tora, Sakura, of course Izumi, the Micah match, the one I'm looking forward to the most. I think her and Akira, I wouldn't be shocked if Akira's best match in this tournament is against Tomoka Inaba because styles make fights, and I'm obviously looking forward to that arena match. I agree. I think she's going to be about probably cut it about half, probably about 50%. But again, I would not be heartbroken of all if she's one to make it to the playoffs. But again, we'll see what happens with Tomoka. Hopefully they do something with her coming out of this tournament because I can see her with the red belt kind of not being hot potato, but being hot potatoed. I wouldn't be opposed to Tomoka Inaba getting a title shot, whether it's Suzu or whether it's somebody else before we get into Dream Queendom. More on that later. So yes, I have dissected what I think is going to happen. I talked about it with one person. Me and him booked the territory on Sunday.
Amazing.
And I think we're almost at the same thing because he's like, yeah, that makes sense. And I broke down to him exactly what I think was happening, why. And he just texted me an hour ago what his 5-star Grand Prix winner was. I completely threw away our discussion, but that's neither here nor there.
I would do that, to be fair.
Yeah, when you're finding sodas called Dr. Goodwin, that's what you do, buddy. That's what you do.
Exactly. So, Matt, obviously, time has come. Who do you see going through in this block, and what number do you see them going through as?
Now, keep in mind, we'll get to Andy headers. Andy Zyke did text me that he did not do the homework. So, Rob, you have students that don't do the homework. They do not participate. They do not participate. But I am recording on his podcast on Thursday. I'll make sure I give him hell for you, buddy.
Please
I'll make sure. Yeah, I will.
Who does he think he is?
So I have Andy head. Once we get to the big playoff part, I'll go over Andy headers. Now I do have mine and Amber's. So do you want my 1, 2, and 3 first, or do you want Amber? How would you like to do this, sir?
If you want to do yours first.
Okay. My number 1, I kind of tipped my hat a little bit ago. I'm going to say Micah is my number 1 seed. I'm going to say my number 2 seed is going to be Izumi. And then my number 3 seed is going to be Sayaka Kurora.
Okay. What about Amber? Before I give mine, because I'm still not sure of mine.
Oh,
well, no, I am sure. It's just, again, I'm sort of dying on my sword here because I think I've made a wrong decision. But even so, what has Amber said?
Amber, A1 stands for Izumi. Good for you. Wow. Good for you, Amber. A2 is Micah. And then the 3rd seed, she's going with Rina. Again, no bad picks. Because you look at how these playoffs and finals are going to end up. You're like, those those are all matches I want to see. And then Karen Peterson sent me hers. I'm like, I had no idea that was a possibility until wait till you see what she booked. I was like, I want to see that, Karen Peterson. It's something me and you have dissected this tournament. We think we know how it's going to go, but it could go this way, which would make sense. I'm like, oh, okay. All right.
We don't do well with brackets, mate. Come on. You know this.
Well, I got the Cinderella right this past year. You got the 5-star winner right.
I did.
With Momo Watanabe, and then I got a lot of the playoffs right. So we actually did pretty decent, but there was some we did terrible. The goddess. We had O2 Lion winning it, and they were eliminated by like week 3. However, they are
awful.
However, they are the current goddess of Stardom champion. So we were on to something. We eventually got there a little bit later.
We knew it was coming. We just didn't know how. TL. It's all about the destination, not the journey. I've got Micah going through his first seed as well. It's between Azumi, Tora, Rina, and Sayaka Kurara, I think.
Tough.
I know that I spent a lot of Azumi's portion of this podcast saying I don't think Azumi goes through. I've got to go through a second seed because I think it's between her and Rina, but also I do think that Natsuko Tora goes through. So I think Azumi beating Rina puts Tora through. So it's a rogue choice, granted, but my red stars I just don't think they put Azumi and Rina through. I just don't. So I'm going to go Micah top seed, Azumi second seed, Tora third seed. Right. Let's talk then about red stars B. So we have got Sayarida, Lady C, Mei Seira, Rini Yamashita, Maki Ito, Konami, Azusa Inaba, and the returning Utami Hayashishita. Now, we are going to start with Azusa Inaba, who unfortunately isn't blessed with a nickname on the Stardom website. So unfortunately,
or
she's
a hand.
just known. Or a hand. No, it does come off. It's an optional extra that comes with Azusa Inaba action figures.
Like the 2 hands in some of those WWE figures.
Absolutely, yeah. So she's got 2 hands that do 2 different things. All of them are pointing at women, saying that they are old hags, which apparently that is the big thing going into the Maki Ito match, is Azusa Inaba and Maki Ito calling each other old hags. So that's exciting. Keep an eye out for that. Obviously made a debut in the tournament last year, went 3-4 last year, getting to 6 points. Looked very good in the matches that she was in. This year, a lot of first-time matchups for the baby Inaba. The only matches that she's had before, she has a 1-0 record against Mei Seira and is 1-1 against Lady C. But otherwise, every single match is a first-time matchup. Some really good matchups to look at, though. I mean, Konami on the 9th of August. That's really exciting. Opening up against Sayarida on the 18th in Ota Ward. That is a match to keep an eye on as well. I think her and Rini Yamashita as well. I think Rini Yamashita is the big dark horse in this tournament. I mean, a fantastic match against Suri for the IWGP Women's Championship. She's someone, I don't know if you've noticed this, whenever anybody talks about singles matches they'd like to have, Rini Yamashita always seems to be in the list for people. If they haven't faced Rini Yamashita, they always list her as someone they want to face. So that really excites me. I think this will be a very, very good tournament for her. Obviously, Mei Seira, who I think is absolutely phenomenal. And then obviously that Maki Ito match, the Who is the Oldest Hag match, will be on the 8th of August. Matt, I predict another good tournament for Azusa Inaba. I don't see her getting through this block, but I see her causing a few upsets. Wouldn't surprise me if she gets the win over Lady C, potentially setting up a hate challenge for the Artist of Stardom Championships. Wouldn't surprise me if she beats Maki Ito as well, and it wouldn't surprise me if that's what stops Maki Ito going through.
This is another tough one to predict, very much like Red Stars A. It's like, I think I know, I can put stamp on, I know one person going through, which obviously I know definitely one person here going through. So remember, the 5-star grade, the 5, if you turn it a certain way, it looks like a C, Lady C. So
Lady chaps.
There it is. But I mean, I think when we do our review of this show that when we talk about the wrestler or of this whole tournament, we talk about the wrestlers that didn't win a lot of matches but had really great showings. I think Azusa Inaba is going to be on top of our list. I mean, she's gonna have great matches, but boy, howdy, bloody hell, as you say, Rob Goodwin. Look who she
Bloody hell.
starts with. Saya Ida, who's on a roll, and the crowd is really behind. Rina Yamashita, yes, absolutely. Everybody wants to wrestle her. Utami Hayashishita, the winner of this tournament 6 years ago, is back. And May Sarah, obviously, they're doing something with May Sarah because she's cutting promos saying she wants to challenge for the white belt and the red belt. She's starting fights with Suzu Suzuki. She's got long hair. She's got a new tattoo. Like she is the person that I'm thinking is going to get the most out of this tournament for somebody that's not a constant main eventer. Like, Tommy, Momo, Saya, they're going to have great tournaments, go really far in this tournament. But I think May Sarah is going to be the one that we're going to look at where it's like, she's the one you need to start pushing now towards championship matches that have never had a shot at the Wonder or the World. More on that we get to May Sarah. The Lady C match with Zeus and Lady C had a really great match last year. But as far as building matches go, Maki Ito and Azusa Inaba have done a great job building their matchup, which is coming in time in about 3 weeks' time. Yeah, but you're right. The Konami match is going to be interesting. Konami has a lot to prove in this tournament. Again, more on her when we get to her. But does Azusa Inaba upset Konami? And does that stop Konami to going through, furthering the cracks in hate coming out of this tournament? So we'll see how it goes. I think Azusa gets 3, maybe 4 points at the most here, but I still think she's going to have a really good showing. So I'm really looking forward to all of her great matches. Again, she's opening up with Saida. That's my type of jam, Rob. That type of match.
I think you look at the first night, and we will look at each of the nights as well. Is the first night lacking that punch in terms of the 5-star Grand Prix? Obviously, I know that we have the IWGP Women's Championship match between Syuri and Maiden Japoi. But I mean, what a name for that move that is. The Natsupoi style Maiden Japoi is what she's calling it, and I'm such a fan.
By the way, not to interrupt you, Shingo has yet to do any of Natsupoi's moves in the G. I know he only wrestled one match. He has not done the Pharaoh gift, the Pharaoh blink. Like, come on. But go ahead, continue, sir, what you were saying.
Yeah, it feels like it's, yes, granted, we didn't want a show like last year where it was like 16 matches and it was just too long, far too long. And no show, I don't think, has above 9 tournament matches. So that's obviously a massive improvement. But it does come at the consequence of there not being that real sort of fire match that you can sort of hang your hat on and go, right, that's going to be your main event. Like there are shows like the first Korakuen Hall show is Starlight Kid and Saya Kamitani. The 3rd of August Korakuen Hall show is Saya Kamitani and Momo Watanabe. It's your big blockbuster matches. It feels like the opening night doesn't really have one, even though I am excited for the likes of Saya Rida versus Azusa Inaba.
You know why, Rob, you feel that way? And I agree with you. It's because we've been spoiled. Even last year, with 4,000 matches, we had Poi and Sayaka Kurora. We had Konami and Suri. We had Starlight Kid and Tomoka Inaba. And even though there was I think it was 16 matches on that. But then you look at 2023, where we had Shuri versus Suzu Suzuki. We had Hanan versus Maika. We had Starlight Kid versus Natsupoi. We had Azumi versus Mariah May. I'm just naming this at the top of my head. 2022, we had Hazuki and Julia. I mean, we had so many great. 2021, I believe we had Momo and Mayu. So we've had they're not only some of the best shows in Stardom, they're some of the best wrestling shows of the year. Night 1 of the 5-star Grand Prix and have consistently been. The main event's going to be great. Poi and Shuri for the IWGP Joshi. Of
course it is.
The tournament matches are going to be terrific, but it's almost like they didn't give us that one or two, like, oh boy, I cannot wait for this. But I think that when we review that show, we're like, this one really exceeded expectations. It's still going to be great. I just think just because we have watched this company, especially on night 1 of the 5-star Grand Prix, we're always so excited. We get spoiled by all the great matches we always have on that night 1, where it's still going to be really, really good, but it's not like that big, like, oh boy, any one of these wrestlers can win the 5-star, and they're giving us to a night 1. So yeah, I totally agree. There's not that big killer match, but it's still going to be a whole bunch of really, really great matches because it's Stardom, and this tournament is awesome. But then again, we have a show on the 19th, a show on the 20th. So it's like, Stardom's not giving us that one giant punch. They're hitting us with a whole bunch of jabs back to back to back. But yeah, you're right. Then there's 3 Corkins, right? There's the 2 regular season shows and then the big playoffs. So we have 3 Corkins, as you make mention all the time, like they're making Corkins feel big, and they really have been, considering that those 2 Corkin shows are going to be absolutely loaded, and then we're going to get the playoffs as well heading into the finals. So yeah, I agree with you, and I think it's just because we've been spoiled by what Stardom has been giving us year after year on night 1 of the 5-star Grand Prix.
Miss Icicle Psycho. I thought for the longest time that Konami's nickname was Ice Cold Psycho, which I would argue is better than Miss Icicle Psycho, because I'm not entirely sure that makes sense. But there we are. That's what it is listed as, and that is what she will be known as for the rest of her days, Miss Icicle Psycho. So there we are. Anyway, Konami is obviously the next person in Red Stars B finalist in 2019, losing out to a Tokyo Cyber Squad stablemate Hana Kimura in the final. This will be her 8th tournament, which when you consider she missed a couple of years to go freelance, I think that's quite an impressive haul for Konami. 24, 27, and 1 is her all-time record. Last year, again, very similar to Azusa Renaba, 3 and 4, never really looked like she was going through, despite that big statement win against Sari on the opening night last year. And it more seemed like, right, let's focus in on her challenging for the IWGP Women's Championship than anything else. However, obviously, with everything going on with Hate at the moment, you can certainly argue that Konami is one of the big players in Red Stars B. Her match with Utami is going to be a must-see match on the 28th. Obviously, has a winning record against her. And if you actually have a look at all of her records, she's been dominant against most people in this block. 4-0 against Lady C, who she faces on the 26th of July. Sayurita, she's 3-0 against Sayurita, including that white belt match we were there for at Korakuen Hall on the 3rd of August. The only match that she's lost, in fact, or the only losing record she has, is against Rina Yamashita, and that was in like 2017 in Pro Wrestling Wave. So she'll be looking forward to that. I think Konami is a big-time player in this year's tournament. What say you?
I think she has the most to prove in this tournament as far as match quality goes. I don't think she makes it to the playoff, but you have to look at where she's at in the big spear of Stardom. She beat Starlight Kid at the Crimson Nightmare show to win the Wonder of Stardom Championship. I don't think any of us had us penciling into Konami to win that after this great championship run that we had with Natsupoi and then Starlight Kid. I'm like, oh, Konami? Okay. Let's see what she can do. And every one of her title matches were great. The Saida match, the Rina match, the Hina match, the Ami Soya match, and then dropping it to Hana. As soon as she won the belt, we knew she wasn't going to have it long. She was just there to set up the next big baby face, which was Han, which is exactly what happened. Getting great matches. The Hina and Rina match, I believe both those main event Cork and Halls, and did like 1,400, give or take. So she drew really well there as Wonder Champion and really overexceeded our expectations of just how great she was. She loses the belt. Now it's like, okay, now what's next? Now, again, we know she's buddy-buddy with Momo Watanabe in this seemingly split that we're going to have between Hate and Hate Wolfpack, as we're calling it. But I think as far as match quality goes, I think Konami's going to have a chip on her shoulder to just show everybody just what a truly special talent that she is. Do I think she gets through? No. Would I be shocked if she doesn't? No, not at all. But her matches, I'm definitely going to be looking forward to closely because, again, she came off this really great, underrated run kind of out of nowhere as Wonder of Stardom champion. And now it's like, okay, now what? Now what? Well, the 5-star starts. Okay, well, who's she having her bracket? Mei Sarah, Utami, Saida, Rina, Azusa Inaba. The Maki Ito match would be a lot of fun as well. So I think you're going to see her have some really great matches and really prove once again what a truly special and kind of underrated touch. She kind of flies under the radar. And I think it's just because the Stardom roster is so stacked with the Momos and the Sai Kamatanis and the Natsupois and Sorianus, so on, Micah, so on, Utami, so on and so forth, that I'm really looking forward to see what she does here from a match quality aspect where she can show everybody why she was Wonder of Stardom champion for as long as she was.
Yeah, that 1, 2, 3 punch in the middle of Konami's match calendar, the Utami match on the 28th of July, the Sayurida match on the 3rd of August, and then the Rina Yamashita match on the 8th of August. Those 3 matches are the 3 matches I'm most looking forward to in Konami's calendar. I think all 3 of those matches have the capabilities of being absolute bangers. Again, whenever she's faced Sayurida, it's been brilliant. That match that we were there for, I was suffering, and I've said this before, I was suffering with the worst possible jet lag. I was flagging at this point, Matt Turner, and you can attest to that.
You weren't the only one. The person to the left of me was asleep as well.
Absolutely. And Amber, no. But it was hard work. But Konami and Sayurida really woke me up. It was a fantastic match. So if they pull even a little bit of that into their 5-star match, I am all there for it. I don't disagree with you about whether she gets through the blocks. I do think she will be that person who's in 4th. I think she will be she'll be a spoiler to someone, and I think she just misses out. I think she will have a better tournament this year than she did last year. I say that she beat Sari on the opening night, but you know what I mean, a more focused tournament on the actual 5-star itself. And now we have the People's Champion, the 5-star Grand C. Am I right? The human tower herself, Lady C, made a debut last year in unremarkable circumstances. 2-5 record, 4 points. Again, it was just great to see Lady C finally have that opportunity. It's great to see her have a championship around her waist and get the focus she deserves, because she is fantastic despite the chaps. Unfortunately, despite both my love for Lady C and your love for Lady C, Matt Turner, I would argue that this is one of the locks of the tournament, is that Lady C doesn't go through, unfortunately. Especially when you look at her record against everyone in the block. She opens against Sayurida on the 20th of July, 1-2. Has Konami on the 26th. She's 0-4 against Konami. She's 0-3 against Utami Hayashishita. She's 0-1 against Mei Seira. She has got that she picked up a singles victory against Azusa Inaba, which is obviously key, but I would be amazed if Lady C betters her 2-5 record from last year. But it does set up some challenges for the Artist of Stardom Championships, which, again, she's been thriving in those 6-woman main events.
Yeah, I think his match quality wise, she'll have a great tournament. And I'm really looking forward to the Utami match, because obviously we have this Utami Queen's Quest lore. More on that later, Rob. Wink. But like, because we're like, the whole Azumi, hey, you need to talk to the other members of Queen's Quest. And it's like Utami, Momo, Saya, Azumi. Oh, yeah, Miyu Amasaki. You keep forgetting Lady C was a member of Queen's Quest just because of how loaded that faction was X amount of years ago. So I wonder if they play off a little. Like, I don't think it's going to be a big portion of the match, but it'd be really cool if they play into that. I'm telling you right now, you can bookmark this tweet. You can cut up what I'm about to say and throw it on all of our social medias. I'm not saying it's going to be match of the tournament, but we're going to be like, boy, how did that exceed expectations? Christmas in July, Rina Yamashita. Those two are going to go hell bent for leather, to quote Judas Priest. I think that is a match that we're going to be like, even if it's like a 5 or 6 minute match, it's going to be like Don Fry and Takayama, where it's just going to be like boom, 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 boom. Like, that is going to be so much hard hitting, so many big boots, so many forearms. That match is one I'm really looking forward to. I think it's kind of flying under the radar for all the great matches that we're going to get. I agree. Maybe she beats Azusa Inaba. I just don't see her beating Mei Seira. No. Maybe Maki Ito, maybe her and Rina Yamashita knock each other out in 7 minutes, and she gets the 1 point there. I don't see her having many wins, but I do see her having a lot of great matches. And we might have to have a counter on how many chops are thrown in that opening match with Saida, buddy. Going to be a lot of chops, buddy. A lot of chops.
Don't sleep on that Rina Yamashita match as well on the 25th of July. That'll be tasty. Yeah.
That's the match that I'm probably looking forward to the most, other than Utami for the storyline. And Utami's great. But I think Rina and Lady C are going to absolutely tear the house down on the 25th.
Sorry, I was still looking at the France and Spain score.
You still doing
2-0
okay?
Spain. Yeah, Spain's still 2-0, and it looks like they're probably going to win. Maki Ito, the cutest in the world, makes her tournament debut. Has actually only ever wrestled Rina Mashita in singles action in this block. Has a 0-2 record against Rina, so it's not great. But otherwise, every single match is a fresh singles matchup for Maki Ito. Obviously, Maki Ito has already challenged for the red belt this year, that unsuccessful challenge against Sayaka Kurara at Queen's Dynasty. Even though, obviously, Maki Ito is still hilarious, is very entertaining to watch, as is the rest of the Ito Respect Army. I feel like the focus for them is becoming a legitimate faction. Obviously, you look at all the backstage stuff they're doing, kidnapping members of the backstage thing, having already booked a live sort of a live audience thing to try and get legitimacy as an actual faction. I think that's the focus for Maki Ito at the moment, rather than singles success, at least at the moment. Again, I think she probably does something similar to a 3 and a 4, 3 wins, 4 losses. But ultimately, again, even though she is a huge commodity for Stardom, I think that's more where the focus lies for her, as opposed to the quest for singles. I can certainly, again, if Stardom were to put her through, I can certainly see that, and I certainly wouldn't be opposed to that. But for me, at least, I think they will probably have her lose a couple of matches, go out of the blocks, and then focus on, obviously, the Ito Respect Army stuff.
Yeah, I'm pretty much spot on with everything that you said, Rob. She's crazy over. She's massively over. She's a ticket draw. So I wouldn't be shocked if she makes it through. But I think there's just some other big stories that are brewing to kind of get the top 3 through. I will say this. I want to protest the name cutest in the world. That obviously, yes, that is obviously one Tam Nakano. And I actually had this conversation, Rob, not to get off topic, but we're going to. I had this conversation with Willow Nightingale. And I was like, isn't that, who is the cutest? Is it Tam or is it Maki Ito? He goes, well, I think that's Maki's thing. And I was like, okay, I'm 0-1 on this with Willow Nightingale. And I said, hey, you wrestled both Tam Nakano and Miyu Watanabe. Who's the better singer? And she's like, oh, it's Miyu Watanabe. I was like, oh. Anywho, still love that Willow Nightingale. But Will Nightingale will back up Maki Ito on being the cutest in the world. I'm looking forward to her tournament because, again, she's lined up with some great opponents. Her and May Sarah is going to be terrific. I'm really excited to see her and Utami because Utami is low-key really funny. And Maki Ito, I don't think it's enough credit for when it comes time to turn the serious juice on, what a great wrestler she is. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if she does go through, but I'm right with it. I think she's probably like middle of the road, 50%, and then she can, focus on her Ito Respect Army. Because I think eventually, as we get to the fall months, I think that's going to be the championship run we're going to see with the artist belts is Ito, Stone Cold Rion, and Kikyo Furusawa. I think she's going to have some great matches and be a lot of really fun matches here. But I agree. I think she's going to miss out by like 1 or 2 matches of making it to the playoffs.
Let's have a look at the ultimate shooting star, May Sarah, then, making her 3rd tournament appearance. Was a block runner-up in 2024, like we mentioned before, in that amazing 3-way tie between Tomoka Inaba, Azumi, and herself. As a 6-5-3 record in the 5-star Grand Prix, and just missed out on going through last year. Was 3-3-1, getting 7 points. And as you mentioned, Matt, there's been a lot of focus on May Sarah recently. Obviously, had taken a bit of time off heading into the 5-star, came back, new look, new hair, new tattoo, coming back with a newfound focus and aggression. Challenge, was standing up to Suzu Suzuki, her former Crazy Star tag partner, challenging for that red belt, focusing on Hanan, challenging for that white belt. I think if she's got fingers in both belts or both pies, you know what I mean?
I got you.
Thank you.
Pies and belts.
Pies and belts, exactly.
You'd have it all.
I don't think she then doesn't go through in the blocks. And she's another one. This is her opportunity now. We are used to seeing high speed May. Record-setting high speed champion. She's graduated from that division now. This is her opportunity against the likes of Arina Yamashita, who she has on the opening night, a completely different opponent than she would have in the high-speed division. Utami on the closing night on the 16th, even a Lady C on the 14th. These are opponents that she can prove she can have those different styles of matches. She's going to challenge for the red belt. She's going to challenge for the white belt. They aren't going to be those quintessential high-speed championship matches that Mei Seira is so good at. This is her opportunity to go, actually, this is what I can do. This is why I deserve this title shot or that title shot.
I think in this tournament, coming out of this tournament, she's going to be the most pushed wrestler. Like, obviously, Kamatani's main eventer, how much further you can get. Utami, I know she hasn't been in this company, but Utami's been almost a main eventer almost since day one. You see Utami get a little bit of bump, but she's already here. Micah, we mentioned, is kind of went down a little bit. I think you're going to see Micah go up. Azumi's challenged for that red belt before and that white belt before. Starlight Kid is a former white belt champion, considering the fact that Mei Seira has never challenged for the two belts. So you kind of put Mei Seira here for all you. I'm about in the middle of the road here for everybody, not in YouTube world. But I think she's going to be the one that at the end of this tournament to be elevated to somebody that is going to be challenging for those belts. As you mentioned before, she has fingers not only in championship belts, but pies as well, Rob. So, I mean, that's a lot of fingers on dirty objects. So I just hopefully she cleans her hands before she gets another tattoo. But however, in all seriousness, my friend, I think this is going to be a massive tournament for Mei Seira. She is such a special talent. And again, this is now the time to push her. Her and Rina Yamashita, different styles, my friend. But yet that's going to be a fun one. We did see Rina Yamashita last year in Las Vegas have 3 matches in one with Maya World. Technical match, a hardcore match, and then the comedy match. So is it now? I wouldn't be shocked to see kind of a little high-speed style there. I think Mei Seira is going to have such a phenomenal tournament. And I'm really looking for that match with Utami Hayashishita. I think that match is going to prove who gets the 1 seed and who gets the 2 seed, or who may have to defeat former winner of this tournament 6 years ago, former World of Stardom champion in Utami Hayashishita, and able to go through. So that's a match that I'm really going to sink my teeth into. Her and Saida is going to be a fun one as well, because Ida hits hard, and Mei Seira has that drop kick that goes 1,000 miles an hour. And I think that might be Ida's receipt. I'm really looking forward to what Mei Seira does in this match. The time is now to push Mei Seira, and the way that they've been building her up since her return to injury, the fact that she's like fighting with the big champions, it's like, hey, this is what's going to happen after the 5-star Grand Prix. You don't say that, put that out there for her to go 0-5. I just don't see it happening.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's not like, well, I don't see it yet. Or maybe Mei Seira is somebody that should be challenging for those belts and maybe even win the Wonder of Stardom champion either at the end of this year or the beginning of next year, because she truly is a special talent. So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited for it. I do think that she does get there. Again, I think she's going to be the most pushed wrestler in this tournament and then coming out of this tournament as well. And it's definitely earned from one Mei Seira.
What you've got to think about as well is that immediately following this tournament, we have a pay-per-view. So the first couple of weeks of September, we have got Stardom to the World, where last year they had a red belt defense and a white belt defense. Mei Seira has put her name forward for both of those titles. So we could quite easily see Mei Seira have a very good tournament, a very positive run in this tournament, and then challenge for the white or the red belt on the final night, and then that be the match heading into Stardom to the World. I don't think that happens if she goes, 1-6 or whatever. But yeah, I'm in complete agreement with you. I think Mei Seira is someone who we will be looking at as one of the most dominant in the block. Speaking of dominant, the Deathmatch Amazon. Beth's nickname so far, I think.
Yeah, I think it beats out Akira.
Close,
just. Though. Yeah,
absolutely. The Deathmatch Amazon, Rina Yamashita, making her tournament debut. Again, someone who really showed a lot of people who were unfamiliar with Rina's single style and sort of not dismiss her, but tar her with the deathmatch brush. Really showed what she could do against Syuri in that IWGP Women's Championship match at the Conversion. And I think we will see a lot more of that in this tournament. Already has a 2-0 record against Maki Ito, has a 1-0 record against Konami. But again, all of these are fresh matchups. And immediately your eye is drawn to that Utami Hayashishita match. The 19th of July, Utami Hayashishita versus Rina Yamashita is a tasty matchup. Sayurida on the 9th of August is another one I am very, very much excited for. Don't sleep on her and Lady C on the 25th of July, pardon me. I think that is another match that could be really, really entertaining. I think Rina Yamashita, again, in a similar vein to Itsuki Aoki, I think she's going to impress a lot of people with the singles performances, but I don't see her challenging the top 3.
I wouldn't be shocked if she beats Utami. And then we know that we've seen it before, that the winner of the 5-star Grand Prix likes to kind of go back and avenge their losses. And Utami's that type of wrestler. So I wouldn't be shocked if she gets that big win against Utami. And if Utami does win the 5-star Grand Prix, which I know is one of the favorites that you see maybe at the To the World show, at a Corkin show or something like that, Utami wants to get her win back. And they both have the same finish. Rina uses the Splash Mountain, and Utami uses the Hijack Bomb. So it's kind of very similar. So you're going to be seeing a lot of that. Yeah, that's going to be great. We mentioned before when we talked about Lady C, I think the Lady C match is going to be something really special. Her and May Sarah, again, different styles. So we see how that goes. And what a way to close out her and Saida. I'm really excited for Rina to get this chance. We talked about with her and Izuki Aoki about like how really special talents they are. And as you mentioned before, when we started talking about Red Stars Beat, there's a lot of wrestlers that said they wanted to wrestle Rina Yamashita. And I mentioned this when I did my Vegas review, when I came back from WrestleMania weekend. During the Stardom show at the Pro at the Palms, I was sitting next to Speedball Mike Bailey, and we were talking about all the matches he's had with Joshi's. And I was telling him how much I loved his match with Miyu Yamashita from Tokyo Joshi Pro. He goes, as much as I enjoyed that match, my favorite intergender match I've ever had was against Rina Yamashita. And one of his favorite matches he's ever had, which is saying something because Mike Bailey's catalog is huge. So for him to really put over Rina Yamashita, saying it's one of his favorite matches and probably his favorite match he's had with the Joshi, really goes to show you what a special talent Rina Yamashita is. I agree, maybe 4 or 5 points here for Rina Yamashita, but I think every one of these matches is something to look forward to, and we get to see her in this new light because she hasn't had a lot of singles matches in Stardom. And again, the last one she has was against Shuri for the IWGP Joshi Championship. And for a lot of the Stardom fans that really haven't seen singles Rina Yamashita, they got a taste of really how great that she is, because her and Shuri absolutely tore the house down. I think she will in the majority of these matches. Yeah, I agree. 4 or 5, maybe 6 points, but I think that going into that final match with Saida, I think it might be a must win for Saida, and one where Rina Yamashita is just in the match to have some fun and kick the head in of the gorilla. So I'm looking forward to the matches. I don't think she gets any wins, but she could have some upsets. Again, maybe she does upset May Sarah. Maybe she upsets Utami Hayashishita. Those are all possibilities. I think the Konami match is going to be one to look forward to, and the Maki Ito one will be kind of where she turns on a little more of the comedy, which she does really well. I think that'll be a really enjoyable match, and I think she's going to have a really enjoyable run.
Second to last person in Red Stars B, then the Macho Gori Saida, 5th tournament appearance for her. Previous best of 8 points from last year. Dreadful all-time record, though. 9 wins and 23 losses with just a 28.13% block match winning percentage. Only winning record she has against anyone in the block is Lady C, who she's got a 2-1 record against. Otherwise, makes for a rather miserable reading for Ida. 0-3 against Utami, 1-3 against Konami, 0-2 against May Sarah. However, again, Saida is someone who Stardom fans are massively behind. That match against Konami at Dream Queendom really did feel like it felt like a culmination for a lot of Saida fans. Obviously, aside from the Future of Stardom Championship, it felt very much like this is her moment. And even though we knew she wasn't going to win because the story was always Hanan to win the belt, it felt like the moment where everyone's like, oh, Saida can go. And again, those that have watched Saida since 2020 or 2019 know that she's bloody good. And I think this tournament is where we will see that manifest. And again, you look at that match with Utami on the 26th of July. You look at that match against Rina, the first time that we've seen that on the 9th of August. Even the match that she opens in Ibarra Wave against Azusa Inaba, the rematch with Konami on the 3rd of August. And again, May Sarah on the 15th of August as well. That's another match to really look forward to. I'm really excited by Sayarida this year. And spoiler, I think she goes through. I think she goes through the block.
I think she almost needs to because of how over
Agreed.
she is and all these great.
Agreed.
She had near misses, like that Ami Sourei #1 contenders match she had at the end of the year to qualify to go to Dream Queendom.
Match.
Unbelievable. Tore the house down in Korakuen Hall. The fans are behind her. Everybody loves her. She's massively pushed. She's not massively pushed, but I think very much like May Sarah, she's gonna be one coming out of this that's like, I can see her challenge for the red belt. Now, unlike May Sarah, she had 2 championship matches at the Wonder Belt recently against her tag partner in Hanan, and a match that was truly fantastic. That the crowd, they were really behind Hanan. Towards the end, they were really rallying behind Saida. I think that she is one. I agree with you, buddy. I think that she needs to go through. I think that we've seen Stardom these last handful of months are pushing other talent other than they always go to, which is always a good hand to go to. But it's like, hey, let's try something different. It's clearly worked with Rena, giving her the push. I think we're going to see May Sarah get the push. And Saida, they've been pushing a little, but they just can't push again everybody at the same time. I think this is where Saida gets a massive, not only a push, but a shove as well. And I'm going to agree with you. I think she does go through, and every one of these matches is something to look forward to. Her and Azusa Inaba, they're going to crush it. Her and Lady C, I mentioned, have the under over on chops ready for that. Her and Maki Ito is going to be fun. Utami, if you remember, Utami's last loss before she left Stardom to go to Marigold was Saida in Korakuen Hall 2 years ago. So we know there's like a really cool history there. And obviously Saida's a better wrestler now than she was 2 years ago. And she was great 2 years ago, but just how great she is now. We do have the Dream Queendom rematch semifinal from her and Konami on 8-3. Her and Rina Yamashita, boy howdy, violence right up my way. And that May Sarah match is going to be interesting because, again, I think the 2 most pushed wrestlers coming out of this tournament are going to be Saida and May Sarah, and they're in the same block on one of, getting towards the final night. So that one, I don't know how that's going to shape out to be, but I'm excited for Saida's run here. I think Saida fans are going to rejoice by the massive push she's going to get here. As I say that, she'll have 1 win, 1 draw. That'll be it.
Yep. Absolutely steamrolled by absolutely everybody.
Lady bell rings, her and Lady C boots her 1, 2, 3. That's it.
It's WrestleMania, Sheamus and Daniel Bryan style. Utami Hayashishita, who for a whole litany of reasons is perhaps the most interesting person in this entire tournament, and we're obviously going to be talking about that as we get through to the playoffs and beyond. Spoiler, because of who I imagine a lot of us have as a potential final. Obviously, Utami is greatly experienced in the 5-star Grand Prix. It's her 7th tournament. She won it back in 2020, was a finalist in 2018, one of only 4 people to make it to multiple finals. She's the only person in history to win both the 5-star Grand Prix in Stardom and the Dream Star Grand Prix in Marigold. 50% win record in the blocks, 27, 22, and 5. But comes into this tournament not feeling like a previous tournament winner. It feels like almost like she feels like she's got something to prove. And it feels like this is all building towards that inevitable Saya Kamatani match. And I know that we are going to talk about that, whether that is the tournament final, whether that is, down the road at Ryogoku for Dream Queendom, whatever it is. It feels like Utami was starting from the bottom. This tournament will be the building of her back to the Utami of old, the Imperious Utami. Obviously, I know she's had a red belt match, a fantastic match with Suzu Suzuki. But again, it's all about that match with Saya Kamatani. And you look at the matches that she's got. I mean, we highlighted it. As we've gone through Red Stars B, it feels like we've gone through and gone, look at that Utami match. Look at that Utami match. Look at that Utami match. Because they're all really, really exciting. Her versus Sairida on the 26th of July. Her versus May Sarah on the closing night, which, Matt, I completely agree with you, does feel like a who is going to be seed 1, who's going to be seed 2 match, that Rina Yamashita match that she's going to open her tournament account with on the 19th. I personally believe that Utami is the most nailed on in this block to go through. And maybe I'm showing my hand as to what I think my final is going to be. I don't care. I think it will be Utami and Saya in the final. And I think this tournament will do wonders to build Utami and remind those fans that maybe haven't seen Utami in Stardom, who are newer fans, remind people of why for so long she was referred to as the Red Queen.
Yeah, really the prodigy. I mean,
absolutely.
I mean, her debut, she went to a 20-minute draw with Jungle Kiona, which, by the way, congratulations, Jungle Kiona, entering the Rev Pro tournament. That's awesome. That is awesome. So excited to see what she's going to do there. But yeah, I think very much like Red Stars A, if I'm going to get one right, it's Micah. Very much at Red Stars B, Utami.
Mm-hmm.
And again, kind of playing around with certain ideas. We know once these brackets were announced, everybody's like, it's going to be Utami and Saya. It's going to be Utami and Saya. Then an hour and a half later, Suzu won the belt. I'm like, oh, I don't know. Maybe it's Micah. Again, I have a theory. We'll get into that when we get into our deep playoff bracket. But I wouldn't be shocked if Utami eats the L here on Rina on her first match, because she lost to Suzu the last singles match she had for the red belt in Korakuen Hall for Suzu to get her V1. Wouldn't be shocked if she loses to Rina Yamashita and then she cuts a promo. She's like, okay, I can't afford. I lost to Suzu. I lost match 1. If I want to get that red belt back, I got a clean sweep. And I wouldn't be shocked if she goes through the rest of the tournament without any losses. Again, interesting to see how it's going to go. She's going to have great matches because she's Utami High. It's just I'm really interested in that May Sarah match. Again, as we mentioned before, not only for seeding, but it's going to be something different for both. Like just the different that Utami Hayashisa, she's 1-1. May Sarah really kind of is 1-1 as well. You know they're going to have a great match, but I'm still trying to figure out in my head like how they're going to put that together. I'm like, they're way smarter than I'll ever be in wrestling, but I know it's going to absolutely knock my socks off. But yeah, I think Utami's going to go through. I wouldn't be shocked if she is the 1 seed. And I'm kind of looking at what they did at last year, because last year was the first format where they did the multiple playoffs. I know in 2024 they just had the top 2 go through. This is the multiple playoffs, like with the bye. And really the only person that made it to the pay-per-view on the that was the 1 seed was Soriano. I wouldn't be shocked if we have 2 or 3 from this year that do have the number 1 seed. I'm clearly showing my hand here, who I think will probably be the 1 seed. And again, I think it would be Utami, but I wouldn't be shocked if she loses to Rina on night 1 and then just rolls her way through to that playoff show in Korakuen.
Well, let's talk about it then. Of these 8 competitors, Matt, who do you have going through and in what order?
I have Utami as my 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
You see, the seeding thing might throw me off because I can see them wanting to have multiple matches in Korakuen. For how great, I literally have it on my TV right here, for how great that Korakuen show was last year, that Momo got to wrestle twice, and then we had Azumi wrestle twice. But again, I'm regardless, I have Utami as my 1 seed. I have Saida as my 2 seed and May Sarah as my 3 seed. I am pretty confident those will be the 3 seeds. Are the 3 people that'll go through. Again, they can put Maki Ito through. That's a possibility. But again, the seeding could be all sorts of wacky. As far as my beautiful bride, Rob, you ready for this one?
Always.
We have, she has Utami as her 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
May Sarah as her 2 seed. And then she has Kunami as her 3 seed.
I think Konami and Maki Ito are the potential spoilers there. Of someone to throw a wrench in the works, someone that could go through. I have the same 3 as you. Apart from, I think Utami loses against Rina Yamashita on the opening night, and I think she loses against May Sarah on the closing night. Which means that I've actually got May Sarah as my number 1 seed. Utami is the number 2 seed. Just a little bit more adversity.
Sure, I like that.
Utami, another match she's got to get through in the playoffs, and then I've got Sairida as my number 3 seed.
Not only does that have Utami having a tougher road to go through, what does it do for May Sarah? She won. She's the number 1. Now she might not win the whole tournament, but she's kind of won her division. Like, hey, with all these great wrestlers, I've never challenged for the red belt or white belt. I never held that belt before. Where obviously Ida's challenged for it. Konami's worn it. Utami's won pretty much everything, other with the exception of the Wonder Belt. That she comes out of this bracket as the 1 seed. I like the way you're thinking, buddy. I like the way you're thinking.
I am just going to spoil it all now by saying I think she goes through as the 1 seed. And I think, as you mentioned, all of the 1 seeds apart from Soriano went out last year. I think that might happen with Mace-Era. But we'll talk about that when we get through to the playoff bracket. Let's talk about perhaps the most difficult block to call, in my opinion, Blue Stars A. And that for me is because B. Priestley is now out injured. So obviously the graphic is outdated, but because we don't know who the replacement is, we can't talk about it. And I think that does also make our seeding of the Blue Stars A block a little bit difficult because we don't know who that X is. At the moment, the block is Ayasakura, Hina, Miyu Amasaki, the World of Stardom champion Suzu Suzuki, Hanako, Rian, and Ruaka. Now, this mystery person could well be Emma Maishima. It could well be Kyoka Katatsu. It could well be someone from AEW like they threw in Anna Jay in 2024. Matt, you raised a point earlier that if it were to be someone like an Emma Maishima, and this is no disrespect to Emma, who has been phenomenal recently, especially since joining Neo Genesis, if it were to be someone like that, they'd have just announced it.
Sure.
You seem to be of the opinion that perhaps we are trying to look at schedules and potentially finding a high stakes replacement for B. Priestley, which I agree with you. I do think that's probably why we haven't had an announcement straight away. Watch, it'll be announced the moment I drop this episode.
I just refreshed my Twitter and I didn't see anything. It could be a surprise, maybe on the day of. So for all those asking, my Andy Header did do some due diligence on her way to New Jersey and checked when Kyrie's 90-day no compete. I think it's like 83 or 84. Would be like day 83 or 84. So it won't be Kyrie, even though that would be cool. But we kind of ruled out Sari. Like, obviously, she took time off for the injury. She's starting to make her way back now. Maybe we're looking at her schedule. Maybe they're looking at something where they're trying to see if they can work something out with Soriano. And if she can, if she's working with other companies, maybe it's like, hey, can we take her out? Because I know she's a freelancer, but I think she's got one of those deals where Stardom kind of comes first. So maybe it's like if she's booked for I'm just throwing this out there, she's booked for an Oz Academy, like, hey, we really need her for this tournament. We'll get you back. We'll give her these dates and we'll throw a Suzu Suzuki and a Saya Kamatani. We'll sweeten the deal. Maybe that's something that they're working out. Because B. Priestley in this block, she's a heavy hitter. She's a former World of Stardom champion.
I feel like she was a dead cert to go through.
I totally agree. And I think me and you both agreed that she was probably going to pin Suzu to earn a future championship match. More on that later, sir. So again, it's something that they're probably working out, and it could be something where it's the easy answer is like, we couldn't find anybody. We'll throw Waka in, we'll throw Emma in, and that would be fine because this tournament's going to be terrific. And there's going to be a lot of there's a lot of wrestlers in this tournament that are kind of in the middle of the road that are going to benefit from being in this block and being in this tournament that has to go to the playoffs. I'm assuming majority of us have Suzu going into the playoffs. I just don't see a way that she's not. But none of these other wrestlers, with the exception, well, obviously B. Priestley's not in there. None of these other wrestlers have ever made that huge run in the 5-star Grand Prix. Obviously, we're not going to get one, but we're going to get two. Again, depending on if it's not Soriano. So if I'm Stardom, that would be the first thing I was looking into. Like, okay, how can we make Soriano skip? Not let Soriano, again, we don't know why she's not in the tour. Maybe she's like, look, I just don't want to do it. I'm burnt out. I need some time off. But maybe if that's what it is, she's maybe trying to looking at schedules. Again, maybe it's Suri. Maybe it's a Takumi Roha. We know that Stardom has a great relationship with Mako Satomura and Sendai Girls because we have Shuri main eventing Cork and Hall with Chair Hashimoto coming up on Monday. And maybe it's something where Teru Okada called up Mako Satomura and was like, hey, can you give me Manami? Like how we had her 2 years ago. By the way, Manami is phenomenal. The work she's doing lately is fantastic. Can you give me a Mayuki Takase? Can you give me, please, a Mika Owada? I don't think it'd be Chair Hashimoto, but that still would be awesome. But, or Spike Nishimori. Is it something maybe looking at for somebody from the independents like a Chi-Chi? However, I think Chi-Chi's more towards the Marigold side of things. So, but again, we'll see how it shakes out. It could be something where it's just, we're on zero. We're getting close to 0 hour here. We have to find somebody, and maybe they plug in an Emma. or Waka, which I'm fine with. But again, maybe it is somebody with a, not to sound disrespectful, more of a bigger name value. Because B. Priestley is probably the second biggest name value. I mean, she might even be number one because of her worldwide exposure with WWE and NXT. So you need to kind of get somebody with that big name value. So again, we'll see how it all shakes out. You're absolutely right, but Rob, when we get done recording, after you edit and post it, it'll be announced that it is going to be Chihiro Hashimoto. No, it's going to be Mako Satomura coming out of retirement to be in the Blue Stars.
Hiroshi Tanahashi and his jelly knees are coming out of retirement to take part in the 5-star Grand Prix.
Who doesn't want to see Stone Cold Rian and Hero
stamping on the poor old man's knees? Stop it, Rian. He's already dead.
Maki Ito calling it an old hag.
I've gone a completely different way to you. I think they're looking at AEW talent potentially.
I like that idea.
I would prefer it to be someone on the Stardom roster. However, because both of us said that we thought B. Priestley was going through, we also both said that we thought she might be pinning Suzu Suzuki. I think you need to plug someone in that you don't have to change all the results around. So why not? We've already seen Athena wants to do the 5-star Grand Prix. We've all, Maya World is another possibility, someone who has gotten a hell of a lot of exposure recently, and rightly so, because she's fantastic. We know Megan Bain enjoys a flight.
That's right. And you'll enjoy a flight of beer, and you will tomorrow at this time when England wins 3-1. By the way, that's my prediction. 3-1, buddy.
Love it. I'm leaning more towards that because that's why they haven't announced it. I imagine that there is some sort of deal being worked out, or some sort of scheduling to be done, because the mystery person is wrestling on the final 3 nights of the tournament, which takes them up to the 23rd. Now, obviously, AEW don't have anything that weekend because All In is the weekend after. We need to get tickets to that, bro. And
they're still pretty cheap, buddy. But okay. Don't worry about it.
Okay,
don't worry about it. We're busy in this. Don't worry. Uncle MT's got it. I know we're literally booking on the flight. Is Kirsty going? Am I getting 4 tickets?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's no clash there, and obviously AEW are in England. I believe they're in Scotland actually for the Dynamite and Collision tapings on the Wednesday, so it's actually less of a flight. That being said, I think that's probably where we're leaning, but we obviously aren't taking into account, or at least I'm not, the X in my seedings. I've pretty much just discounted the X, and I've gone with, out of the other 7 competitors, who is going through. I'm
going to interrupt you, buddy. It's real quick. You mentioned Megan Bain, and I'm all for that. What if it's her tag partner that spent a lot of time in Sendai Girls, Lana Cross?
Would not hate it.
Go ahead, sir.
Let's talk then about Aya Sakura, who has recently been named the captain of Cosmic Angels, made her debut last year. Again, a similarly miserable tournament to her tag partner, Sayaka Kurara, 2-5, 4 points. It feels different for Aya Sakura this year. Obviously, being given the mantle of the de facto leader of Cosmic Angels, I think, took a lot of people by surprise, especially when Natsupoi is the most tenured member of Cosmic Angels. I feel like Aya Sakura has to follow that by doing well in this tournament. And I don't mean going through to the semifinals or anything like that, but for a start, finally getting that first singles victory over Hanako would be a great start. Obviously, I think there's a reason that that's on the 18th of July. There's a tenured feud there between Aya Sakura and Hanako. Obviously, Hanako has won 3 and drawn 3 with Aya Sakura. Aya Sakura has never pinned Hanako in singles competition. And I think that Aya Sakura is someone who will be there or thereabouts in the 3rd seeding. I think her versus Suzu on the 14th of August is going to be tremendous. I think her versus Miyu Amasaki as well on the 2nd of August. Spoilers, I think she pins Miyu, and I think that will probably lead to some sort of tag team title shot, potentially. down the
For who?
road.
O2 line or for Aya and Sayaka? Because the New Blood titles.
That is true. No, they never defend the New Blood titles. They're pretty much just honorary titles at this point.
Retirement titles.
Exactly. You know when Braun Strowman won the Greatest Royal Rumble and then just had that weird green belt that no one ever saw again? That's pretty much what the New Blood titles are.
We're putting Braun Strowman's Aya Sakura. Maybe he's the X.
3,000 days into that title run, I think. But yeah, I think it'll be for the Goddess titles. I think Aya pins Miyu. Obviously, it does depend, as I mentioned, who this X is, but I think this, if it is someone like an Emma or it is someone like a Waka, you've got to elevate some talent. And I think Aya Sakura is the perfect person to elevate into that position.
Think about what you just said, buddy, between not having B in the tournament. Again, depending on who it is and scheduling, again, it's going to throw a whole monkey wrench into everything. Think about the final match that happened in Stardom before the start of the 5-star Grand Prix last week. It was Aya getting the win, the new captain of Cosmic Angel, and her saying, like, I'm going to run the table at the 5-star Grand Prix. You don't have that statement, giving her the captain, having her get the last win in a really great Fuji show, and then her cutting a promo in the ring, not backstage, but in the ring, and then have Stardom just retweeted everywhere and posted everywhere. She's saying she's going to win the 5-star Grand Prix. For her not to go far in the tournament, do I think she's going to win it? No, but I think they're going to take advantage here and give Aya a really big build up here. And again, she's the captain / leader of Cosmic Angels. And all joking aside, you look at all the phenomenal wrestlers that have been in Cosmic Angels since they started about 6 years ago. There's only been 2 official leaders, Tam Nakano and Aya Sakura. And that's great company. I just think with her being the new leader / captain, I just don't see her eating a whole bunch of L's. I think obviously going to have great matches. You know, Hanako, Hina, as you mentioned, her and Suzu, it's going to be fantastic. Aya is a hard hitter. That German suplex she's just been bridging better and better on it. I like how she's doing the combination of the head kick into the German suplex. So I like how she's really chaining her moves together. I think her psychology is better. Everything she's doing is consistently getting better. I think this is the tournament where they should take advantage of her, of Aya Sakura, and how well she's getting over and her performances. And not only give her a bunch of wins, but maybe make those playoffs, buddy. Maybe make the playoffs.
It's interesting as well because when the 5-star Grand Prix was announced, we instantly looked for people's homecoming shows. Aya Sakura is from Kobe. The Kobe Sambo Hall show is the 14th of August. Who has she got on the 14th of August? Suzu Suzuki. So you would think that that's probably going to be the main event. Maybe Aya Sakura gets in the Sakura latch. We've seen it happen. It's an option. And again, I think you have got to push more, people that you wouldn't necessarily ordinarily push with the absence of B. I think Aya is one to do that. And again, you've got to start racking up singles victory, losing record against Miyu, losing record against Ruaka, losing record against Hanako. If you're the captain, if you're the person who is at the top of this faction, you have got to be seen as such. So I think a good run for Aya Sakura, a statement win, maybe not against Suzu. It's just with that being on the Kobe show, her homecoming show, I think that's really, really important for Aya.
I agree.
Speaking of which, let's talk about the Rampage Skyscraper, which again, it's a great nickname. It's a great nickname. I will just say that I know there is an error on this. She's no longer part of Empress Nexus Venus. I was doing this at 4 a.m. and I was tired. So just leave me alone. Made a tournament debut last year, got 7 points, was in with a shot until the very final night of making it through to the block, making it through to the playoffs, which I don't think anyone really thought was going to happen, but a really strong tournament for Hanako. And spoilers, I think she goes deep again, especially in this block. I think she goes deep again. And 4-0 record against Stone Cold Rian, 3-0-3 against Aya Sakura. Got the time limit draw against Miyu Amasaki. The only losing record she has against anyone in this block is Suzu. And she's already got a draw against Suzu, who is the red belt champion. I think without B, if there is to be someone that pins Suzu, and I don't think there is. I think Suzu goes through top, and I think if there's anyone likely to run the gambit, it's going to be Suzu. But why not, if you're looking to set up potential challenges? Stardom are very high on Hanako. Have Hanako beat her. There's history there between EXV and Vida Loca.
The only thing is, I mean, if is that a to the world, like a pay-per-view, or that's something I think Corkin. I think that'd be a Corkin.
I think that's a Corrigan. Again, I've made it clear that I think that they should do the Darby Allin run with Suzu Suzuki, and just every single Corrigan and every single pay-per-view just have Suzu defend the belt, and then just have her drop the belt after like 100 days or something like that. But I don't think they will do that.
More on that later, good sir. More on that later. I think what they did with Hanako was great last year, where it was just like, we know she's gonna have great matches and she'll pick up points. But yeah, you're right. I think she dropped like 2 out of the last 3, or like it looked like she was gonna go through, or she dropped the last 2. But I know she dropped the last one.
She beat Momo in KBS Hall.
Yes. Good memory, sir. Good. It's almost like you podcasted about it. So I think they do the same with her. I think she just about gets there. But Rob, who is her last match of the tournament against?
And it's worth pointing out as well that Ruaka ruined Bozilla's tournament in the opener last year. If you remember, that ended up in a double count out. Wouldn't surprise me if they do some sort of shenanigans, hate crate to the Rampage skyscraper. There's a reason that that's last, I feel like.
Yeah. I think it's to get more sympathy behind Hanako, and then like just have her start beating up the members of Hate as they're cracking. So yeah, I think she's thereabouts, but I think it's Ruaka is going to be the one that is going to spoil the party for the Hanako Maniacs. I still think she'll have a great tournament points-wise and match-wise because she's terrific. But yeah, I mean, opening up with Aya Sakura, there's the history there. It's going to be really cool to see how that goes. Her and Miyu Amasaki always work really well together. Again, we'll talk about it on the Stardom Cast proper later this week, but that great tag match in the packed Cork and Hall. Her and Suzu is the interesting one as well as Hina. Again, I think she'll have a lot of great momentum going into that final match against Ruaka. I just see Ruaka being the spoiler there and blocking Hanako of going to the playoffs.
I think if not to block her from going into the playoffs, I think certainly to stop her being maybe the second seed.
Possibility.
I think Hanako goes through. I think it's between her and the person we're going to talk about next. But I don't know. I know Stardom are very, very high on Hanako, and I can see her having another dominant run, especially in a block where we need people to have runs. Speaking of which, we have the Azure Fighter next. Hina, another person who made her debut last year, had a pretty good tournament last year in terms of points, a very good tournament in terms of in-ring, 3 and 4 record, 6 points last year. Opens this year against the red belt champion Suzu Suzuki on the 19th of July, the exact same person she opened her tournament against last year in a losing effort. Now, we have been waxing lyrical about the transformation of Hina recently. Obviously, 1/3 of the the Artist of Stardom champions with Lady C and Ami Sohrei. I think Hina does really well in this tournament. Again, you look at her match calendar, that match against Suzu on the opening night, the opening night for them anyway, on the 19th. I think that's going to be a banger. I think she probably does lose, but I think it'll be a very good statement, high stakes match, just like that Konami match for the white belt. Obviously, the match with Aya Sakura the following night, and Miyu Amasaki on the 15th as well. Some really good matches for Hina to have, and I think she's another one that is in with a shot of coming out of this block.
Yeah, you look at that last match with Miyu Amasaki. Again, you have 2 champions. You have one half of the Goddess champions. Miyu Amasaki, what a great run she had in the Cinderella tournament. And obviously, again, Hina, what she's been able to do these last 7 or 8 months is truly remarkable. Again, not only just getting better at wrestling, but her character work as well. Like when she cuts the curtain, there's a certain aura, there's certain like glow about her that we really haven't seen to that level in the last few months. She's connecting with the crowd. She's over. Her matches are consistently getting better. So I wouldn't be shocked if that match with her and Miyu Amasaki is kind of one that like it's going to be a survival like of the fittest between the two of them to see who may or may not advance into the finals. Again, we don't know who that X is. This throws everything really off depending on who it is. So again, these predictions, it might just throw everything, make it all wacky in Blue Stars A. I'm excited for see what Hina does in this tournament. I mentioned May Sarah is going to be the most pushed wrestler coming out of this tournament. I think Hina is going to be right behind her as well. I wouldn't be shocked if you're seeing Hina maybe even challenge for that red belt. Like I mentioned about a month or so ago that these interactions we've seen with Suzu on one side and Hina on another have been terrific. And I was literally sitting in this chair watching like the 6-person, 8-person tags. I'm like, Suzu and Hina in this segment of the match was really great. And I had to go and look to see if they were in the same block. And I was like, yes, they are. Not only that, but they're on night 2. They're each other's opening match. So a really great way to start off that show. I think she's going to have a way better tournament than she did last year, points wise and match quality wise, Rob. As far as she makes it to the playoff, find out in a few minutes, buddy.
It's worth pointing out as well that you highlighted that Miyu Amasaki match on the 15th of August. That is in Miyu's hometown. That's in KBS Hall. So I don't see Hina winning that one.
However, I do remember the one time when they did KBS Hall last year, she wrestled Saida. The reason why I remember that is when Amber was making her picks, I said, hey, I'm just letting you know, you'd like to know all the intangibles. It is in KBS Hall, which is Miyu Amasaki's hometown. And then I picked Saida. She picked Saida, but then she picked me. She went to Miyu because I said that. And then Saida did win, and I got the point. She didn't. She was mad, buddy. She was so mad. I only got a half a pound of pasta that night.
I feel like you were cheating. I feel like that's just dirty. That's underhanded.
Reverse psychology. But if anybody's going to call me out on it, it's her. If anybody knows my BS, it's her. It's true. Yet she's still married to me. So
I know.
She didn't listen to this podcast. And she's at church, by the way, as I'm mocking her. Teaching Bible school. What a sweetheart she is.
Look at that. Speaking of Miyu Amasaki, she is up next. Third tournament for Blooms at the Top. Miyu Amasaki, 6 points last year in 2025. Another one who had a really solid, if understated, tournament. Again, I feel like I've said this with a number of competitors, had a good tournament without really threatening the top 3. And I feel like that's possibly what Miyu is going to do again this year. Record of 4-8-1 overall, 30.77% in the blocks is her win record. She got 3-4 last year. It wouldn't surprise me if she gets that again, especially being a champion. I imagine we are going to see pinfalls and challenges being thrown out. Opens against Ruaka. We know what that means. Obviously, we've already seen BMI 2000 and O2 line twice this year. Maybe they give it away again. Maybe we have Ruaka and Natsuko Tora, the rematch. She's got Hanako on the 20th as well. So maybe, again, we've just seen Hanako and Micah challenge as well. Obviously, Aya Sakura on the 2nd of August. Hina, as we've mentioned, in KBS Hall on the 15th. Miyu is someone, again, who match quality-wise, I think will be good. I think will be solid. I don't see her challenging near the top. I think I would think Hanako, Aya Sakura, and Hina would all fill out that top 3 along with Suzu before Miyu Amasaki does.
Yeah, I totally agree. And again, they're putting a lot of steam behind her. We get a great run in the Cinderella tournament.
She got the win in the tag match as well.
Yeah, to win the belts, and then did the Avalanche Tensai.
Tensai,
yeah, look out, reverse old school CM Punk for all you CM Punk independent wrestling fans. The Pepsi Plunge, which would be now the Saki. I don't know, we'll figure that out. But again, getting big wins in matches that she's teamed with Izumi. So again, they're putting a lot of stock behind her. Wouldn't be shocked if she does make it to the top 3 just because we don't know who that X is now. But I totally agree. I think that Aya, Hina are more likely. And obviously, I think me and you are in agreement that Suzu is the lock to go through in this one. So looking forward to her matches. Of course, again, her and Ruaka, that's always a little tricky. Maybe Ruaka looking for a little revenge for winning those, taking the belts off them back at All-Star Grand Queendom. Again, that Hina match on the 15th is one I'm really circling around, not only for points wise, but match quality wise. I think is be something really interesting. Not only that, but if Hina does get the win and then she does challenge for a future goddess belt, who does Hina ask as her partner? Is it Ami Sori? Is it Lady C? I would like it for it to be Tomoka Inaba. Again, that's just me. So we'll see how that all shakes out. Match quality wise, I think she's going to be terrific, but I think that come the 15th, I think she'll be no bueno and out of playoff contention.
Winning record over Hina, Aya Sakura, and Ruaka, though, so she's certainly strong against these opponents. But yeah, I am in complete agreement with you. Are you ready for the greatest nickname in Stardom history?
Ooh, I don't know. You said that a few times already. Hold on, but I gotta do my Suri. We're struggling the shoulders. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Well, we call her Stone Cold Rian. The Stardom website calls her the Reckless Brat Girl.
First, I thought it said Batgirl. I was like, oh my God, what?
Reckless Batgirl.
They casted
her? Perhaps the most entertaining person on the roster at the moment is the Reckless Brat Girl, Rian. Obviously, this is her second tournament. Last year went appallingly in terms of points, lost every single match, 0-7, is yet to pick up a 5-star Grand Prix victory. Looking at her calendar, I don't necessarily see that changing. Obviously, you look at her record, especially those final 3 matches. Hina, Hanako, and Aya Sakura are her final matches. She's 0-1 against Hina, who she's got at Korakuen on the 3rd of August. She's 0-4 against Hanako, who she's got on the 14th of August. And she's 0-3 against Aya Sakura, who she's got on the 15th of August. It's not looking great for Rian, granted. You're looking at who that X is. She's got them on the 28th of July. Opens her account against Ruaka on the 19th of July, maybe. And to me, that's her biggest chance of a 2 points. Maybe sneaks a victory over Miyu Amasaki. But I don't see her getting more than maybe 2 points. Maybe a draw if she's really, really bratty and starts messing about with someone on the outside. But again, Rian is there for entertainment value, for, again, a good in-ring showing like she was last year. But I don't see her picking up many, if any, points.
It'd be awesome if she beats Ruaka. She's like 1-0. 1-0, and then she gets steamrolled. She just drops every match.
Absolutely flattened by everybody else.
We mentioned how Hanako she was really leading the block majority of her 5-star last year, and then kind of slipped on a banana peel. I think she lost like 2 out of 3 or something like that.
Yeah, I think she did.
Wouldn't be shocked if they do that here with Hanako as it's getting towards the end of the tournament, where she rolls up Hanako, like coming off the JP coaster or catching a lariat and then rolling her up. I mean, it's a possibility. But yeah, I agree too. Maybe Ruaka, maybe Hanako. I think that I know she's gonna have really great matches. I'm interested to see how she takes the pasting, from Suzu Suzuki, because that's gonna be all sorts of fun. I think you're gonna get a lot of babyface sympathy behind her in that match. But I think match quality, I think she definitely has to. Well, if she doesn't do better than last year, then she's still at 0.0. So I think she'll get at least 1 point round. Maybe the old double count out. Maybe her and Ruaka chase each other around the building, and she picks up her first point that way. Again, I think she's there to play spoiler and have great matches, and that's exactly what we're going to get from the Reckless Batgirl. Look out, Bruce Wayne. Stone Cold Rian.
I'm such a fan of that. Such a fan. Do you know what? Looking at that now, obviously, there is the history between Rian and Hanako from their EXV days. Oh, it could be, couldn't it? It could be the banana skin for Hanako to sort of start to falter at the final hurdle again. Oh, I do like that. I do like that. I think she does pick up her first point, just like Yuna did last year. So we'll see. The World of Stardom champion then, Suzu Suzuki, won the tournament back in 2023. This will be her 5th tournament. Has only lost 11 5-star Grand Prix matches, which is quite an impressive haul. Wow. 122, drawn 4, has a really strong block match winning percentage as well, 58.82%. Without doubt, the strongest person in this block, even without the red belt, the top prize in Stardom around her waist. I would still be pegging her to be going through with a maximum of 1 loss. I am still thinking that, depending on who the X is, obviously we still don't know. She does have that X on the final night. And this is another reason that I was thinking it's not just going to be an Emma. It's not just going to be a Waka. On the 16th, in Act City, Suzu Suzuki, your World of Stardom champion, has got that mystery opponent. I feel like there's a reason for that. Now, obviously, when it was B. Priestley, we all said, right, well, B. Priestley is pinning Suzu just like she did with Saya Kamatani last year. Now, it depends on who that is. I could quite easily see, obviously, she's got Hina on their opening night on the 19th. I could see her running the gambit until that final night. I could see her beating everybody. Maybe Aya Sakura gets the draw in her hometown. Maybe Hanako. But apart from that, I can't see anyone beating Suzu at all. The Crimson Frenzy girl.
What a way to keep Suzu really strong. She just won this belt. And the match were like obviously like Suzu is championship material, world championship material in a company that has a lot of world championship competitors. We're like, when she won the belt, we're like, oh, didn't see it coming, but yeah, we'll take it because she's definitely earned it. And she's a former winner of this tournament back in 2023. So, I mean, what a way to keep her strong. Had that phenomenal match to win the belt with against Sakura. Had an even better match in Cork and Hall with Utami, again, former red belt champion, won this tournament 6 years ago in Utami. So what a way to keep the momentum going, keep the train going, as Steven Tyler from Aerosmith would say, is have her run the entire gamut of the tournament. Yeah, I think me and you, again, very much like Saya Kamatani, I think it was undefeated in this tournament until she lost to B. Priestley on that final night before we went in the playoffs. We kind of figured out the way it was going to go. Whether that is or not, I don't know. I mentioned Micah maybe running the whole entire thing undefeated to kind of go play off what she did 2 years ago. I can see Suzu doing it. And I think it actually makes more sense for Suzu to do it. So I wouldn't be shocked if she does go through this whole entire thing unbeaten or maybe one draw. But again, I'm really looking forward to the Hina match, the Hanako match. We know that those two always bring it. Aya Sakura definitely has a lot to prove in this tournament, being the new leader of Cosmic Angels. So maybe that's something they want to do, is have Aya maybe roll her up with a Sakura latch, and then maybe she's the next challenger for the belt. I mean, we'll see how that goes. Again, they're all about pushing new talent, and obviously you have an established main eventer in Suzu Suzuki there. So there's a lot of great possibilities, but I think I see Suzu either one draw, one loss, but that's it. I think she is very much like Utami and Micah, a shoo-in from this block to go through.
Yeah, she's the lock out of this block. Rhymed. You'd be amazed if she doesn't go through as top seed. Finally, every time I see that nickname, the Violent Freezer for Uwaka, I still think it's the most ridiculous nickname. It really is. Fourth tournament appearance for the Violent Freezer, who, after only having one win in her first 3 tournaments, went and bettered it last year, getting 7 points, 3-3-1, picking up some key victories last year. With who she's in a block with this year, I think she is there to play spoiler more than she is to challenge the top 3. Saying that, you could well see her maybe do the Natsuko Tora thing from 2023, like win the first 4 matches, look like she's going to win the tournament, and then lose the last 3 or something like that. And maybe that costs her a place in the playoffs. I could quite easily see her beating Miyu on the opening night, obviously beating Rian on the 19th, maybe getting a sneak win over Aya Sakura, sort of start strong and then struggle, and then maybe do something in that final match with Hanako in the Act City show on the 16th. Maybe do something to play spoiler there. Again, Ruaka's a weird one because she could quite easily cheat to beat anybody in this block, with the exception of Suzu. So it's difficult to place her. But personally, I don't think she touches the top 3, and I don't think she gets anywhere near. But you could do that Natsuko Tora semi-dominant early run thing with her.
Yeah, I could see her possibly beating Miyu, but then again, you want to get Miyu off to a hot start. She's probably beating Stone Cold Rion, and then I think she might sneak one on Hanako to block her there. But yeah, 4, 5 points, maybe 6 at the most. But yeah, I just don't. I see her kind of middle of the road. I don't see her in the top 3, really even in the top 4. But again, it is an opportunity for her to go and show out. I mean, just really what a terrific and underrated wrestler she is in this loaded roster.
And with that, obviously, we don't know who the X is, so we can't really talk about any of that really until we know who it is. So apologies. In terms of Blue Stars A, then I've discounted the X entirely in
Me
my
too.
seedings. Haven't even thought about it. Obviously, as we mentioned at the top of this blog, if that X turns out to be Athena, for example, then obviously our predictions go out the window. But for now, Matt, who have you got going through in Blue Stars A?
My number 1 seed is Suzu Suzuki.
Mm-hmm.
My number 2 seeds, again, the seeding thing may throw me off because I'm kind of looking at matches now, and I was like, this one might make more sense. But regardless, number 2, I have Aya Sakura, and number 3, I have Hina. But I'm more certain of Hina making the playoff than I am Aya. I just think Aya may get more points, or Aya may win their tiebreaker to give her the 2 to the 3 seed. So again, who that X is, again, it could be Waka. Or it could be Athena, or it could be Lena Cross. I mean, or Minoru Suzuki, or Andreza the Giant Panda. But as far as my beautiful bride, she's got Suzu Suzuki as the 1 seed as well. She has Miyu Amasaki as the 2 seed, and then she has Hina as the 3 seed.
Hina's the one for me that I am sort of playing with the idea of. So I've got Suzu top seed, obviously. Again, it's between Hanako, Aya Sakura, and Hina. I think Stardom are really high on Hanako, and I think they will put Hanako through. So I've actually got her going through as the 2nd seed. And then I've got Aya Sakura as the 3rd seed. Now, I might change that round because that might be what Ruaka stops. So that might be sort of Hanako's 2nd seed, and then Aya goes through as 2nd seed because Ruaka's beaten Hanako on the final night. But for now, anyway, it's Suzu, Hanako, Aya Sakura. And with that, let's look at the block of death, because that's
for last. Best for last.
Every year we have one. It was Red Stars B last year. It's Blue Stars B this year. What a loaded block this is. So, in no particular order, Wonder of Stardom champion Hanan, High Speed champion Yuna Mizumori, Artist of Stardom champion Ami Sourei, Starlight Kid, Koguma, Momo Watanabe, Saya Kamatani, and Kikyo Furusawa. We will talk about Kikyo later, but I've never been so certain of a 0 points in my entire life. Bless her. She's not picking up a single victory in this block.
Let's 1 seed. No, I'm just kidding.
Let's start with God's chosen big girl, Ami Sourei, then. Her 4th tournament. Made the playoffs last year in 2025, and again had a really strong showing. Had a really good match with Sairida in her own hometown of Fukuyama. 14-1, really strong showing in the blocks. 50%, in fact, is her winning percentage. Opens her account against Koguma on the 19th of July. But the matches that you're immediately drawn to, the Momo Watanabe match on the 1st of August, Saya Kamatani on the 15th of August, and Starlight Kid on the 16th of August. Hanan is the one, though. On the 2nd of August, we know that Ami Sourei is vying for that Wonder of Stardom championship, along with Mei Seira. I would not be surprised if Ami Sourei beats Hanan in this tournament.
I agree, because I think you're going to have Hanan, very much like Starlight Kid, who was the Wonder of Stardom champion last year, eat some L's for her not to qualify, because I don't... Spoilers for my showing my hand. I don't think she's going to qualify. Could she would be the 1 seed? Sure, but because this block is just loaded. But I mean, yeah, Ami Sourei, she made it to the playoffs. She lost to Momo Watanabe, eventual winner. So Ami Sourei can easily say, like, hey, I could have been number 2. I just happened to wrestle the person that won the tournament here on the opening round of the playoffs. She'll have a great tournament. I mean, she's had a great year at the end of last year and the beginning of this year, getting 1/3 the Artist Stardom champions. She may slip up with the Kagama. The Kagama is a tricky one, buddy, because you
Always
never
difficult.
know. As well as Yuna Mizumori, but I wouldn't be shocked if she gets wins over Momo. I wouldn't be shocked if she gets a win over Hanan. Probably gonna get the win of Kikyo Furusawa, but I think she'll be one that I think when it comes to that Starlight Kid match, I think that might be the one that knock her out. I think she's gonna have a tough time. I think she'll the Momo Watanabe match after that. I think she'll pick up the win on Hanan, pick up the win on Kikyo Furusawa. Going into those final 2 nights against Saya and Starlight Kid, I think she'll be like maybe the 1 or 2 seed, and then I think she's gonna drop like Hanako last year, drop
Mhm.
those 2 kind of back to back, and that'll put her out. Will she have great matches? Of course. Again, you're absolutely right. I think the Hanan match would make sense. You know, she beats Hanan, and then she'll be the next challenger for that championship. Who doesn't want to see that? That would be terrific. Again, I think she'll be thereabouts, and then she just has, unfortunately, that 1-2 punch of Kamatani and Kid towards the end, I think is gonna knock out Ami Sourei. I think she'll just miss. However, she will very much like Tomoka Inaba last year, she can hang her hat on that I defeated the Wonder of Stardom champion. Thus, even though I didn't qualify for the playoffs, I do have a shot at the second biggest prize in all of Stardom, the Wonder of Stardom championship, on the horizon.
It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if Ami Sourei is the challenge at Stardom to the World and they have May Sayer a challenge at Dream Queendom. Because again, you've got that history of May Sayer and Hanan hating each other for, I still don't know why, but they just get uber violent whenever they're with each other and just hate each other for some reason. So it wouldn't surprise me if that goes to Dream Queendom and they put Ami Sourei in that position to Stardom to the World. And again, Hanan versus Ami Sourei will be a great match to
Sure.
put on that pay-per-view.
It was the finals of the 2024 Cinderella tournament, which, by the way,
Was
you did predict right, buddy. You did have Hanan win that.
I did. You're absolutely what. I mean, I've got a broken clock's right twice a day, until let's be perfectly honest. I completely agree with you. I think there's no way she beats Saya Kamatani. There's no way she beats Starlight Kid. It wouldn't surprise me if she gets revenge on Momo for last year, because Momo, I think, is going to have a really interesting tournament. The Glory Wing, then, Hanan, our current Wonder of Stardom champion, had a really good tournament last year, had an even better tournament the year before when she made it through to the semi-finals in 2024. Obviously, this is her 5th tournament altogether. A win percentage is quite deceptive of 35.29%, 14 wins, 22 losses, but a lot of those losses came in the first 2 5-star Grand Prix. She's been really quite dominant over the last 2 tournaments. So again, someone to keep an eye on. However, spoilers, and this may come as a surprise to you, I don't have Hanan going through.
I don't think I have either. No, I don't.
Now, obviously, Wonder of Stardom champion, you would assume she goes through. However, Stardom proved last year with Starlight Kid that just because you're the Wonder of Stardom champion does not mean that you automatically go through. Obviously, as well, you are setting up challenges. Also, look at those records. 1-4 against Starlight Kid, 0-1 against Koguma, 1-2 against Ami Sourei, 0-3 against Momo Watanabe, 1-4 against Saya Kamatani on the final night. Again, she's got, I don't think she's wrestling on is she wrestling on either of the Korakuen Hall shows?
That's odd. You figured to have your Wonder of Stardom champion on
She's
at
not,
least
is she?
one.
She's not wrestling on either. When's the first one? Is that the 28th?
Maybe it just didn't shake out
28th.
that
She's
way.
not. No,
That's
no.
wild.
Starlight Kid and Saya Kamatani, Utami and Konami, Micah and Tora. Yeah, that's bizarre that she's not wrestling on either. Anyway,
shake out. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Again, I think Hanan will beat Kikyo Furusawa, who she opens her account with on the 19th. Again, there's Stars history there with Koguma. Koguma is the big thing in this block because, again, like Riwaka, she can beat anyone. She can literally roll up anyone and it be a legitimate victory. I can't remember who has Koguma on the final night. Is it Starlight Kid? I can't remember who's got Koguma on the final night, but immediately I was like, that's a banana skin. But I feel like Ami Sourei is a dead cert to pin Hanan. I think that Starlight Kid is a dead cert to pin Hannon. And I think Saya Kamatani is a dead cert to pin Hannon as well, just to continue that dominance. I don't think Hannon is quite ready for the red belt shot yet. I think Saya Kamatani does go through. I think she goes through as top seed as well. So she needs to beat Hannon on that final night. I think she does beat Hannon on the final night as well, even though we can revisit the great stuff that they did from the blocks last year as well.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of really good points. And now that you're looking at this, Rob, and Stardom could really take advantage of the fact that Hanan, and they really should play this out. I mean, now they have 3 different YouTube channels and they're doing so much with social media and multimedia. They really should play this out as Hanan, the current Wonder of Stardom champion, is in the same block with 3 of the greatest former Wonder of Stardom champions of all time: Saya Kamatani, Momo Watanabe, and Starlight Kid. I have Kamatani 1, Momo 2, probably Arisa Hoshinki number 3, and then either Kyrie or Starlight Kid. But regardless, it's like, hey, there's Hanan's opportunity to prove herself with the best of the best that have ever held that Wonder of Stardom championship. I think that's something that they could put a little more emphasis on and really put some more seasoning on their matches. I totally agree. She beats Kikyo Furusawa. Koguma, you don't know. Like literally, it's that's what's going to make it interesting. And as well as Yuna Mizumori as well, because Yuna has that high speed style. The Starlight Kid match is going to be great. The Ami story match is one we're penciling. I'm really excited to see her and Momo Watanabe. I think her and Yuna might be one of those 4 or 5 minute matches that it's like blink and you'll miss it. And then I think her and Kamatani are going to absolutely crush it, like we've seen them do before. But yeah, I just think the fact that she's in this block of death, I don't see her going through. At the same time, Rob, I wouldn't be shocked if she is the 1 seed coming out of this. That's how like unpredictable some of these blocks are. I just think just what they're doing with Saya Momo Watanabe and now building back up Starlight Kid. I'm obviously showing my hand here. I think that's the way they're going. But I wouldn't be shocked if they have Han go through to the playoffs. And then what that does is put more emphasis on the Wonder of Stardom champion going into that Cork and Hall show. Again, you mentioned, I just realized that what I said when I said it, she's not in any of those Cork and Hall shows, but what if she's in the playoff on that Cork and Hall show? The penultimate 5-star Grand Prix show. Again, we'll see how it plays out. She'll have great matches, of course, because she's Hanan. But yeah, I see her just missing. And I think it's Kamatani the one that is going to kind of block her out of the way.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see her needing that victory on the final night, and Kamatani just continuing that curse that she's got over her to block her going through. Submission Blast. Kikyo Furusawa making her tournament debut, defeated Emma Maishima in her qualifier to make her debut tournament. I mentioned this before, Matt. I've never been so sure of anyone accruing 0 points in a tournament. She opens her account against Koguma on the opening night at Ibarra Wave. I think that and possibly Yuna on the 1st of August are her only shots at getting any points whatsoever, because again, she's got Hanan straight after that. After that opening match on the 19th, got Momo Watanabe on the 20th, and then Saya Kamatani on the 2nd, Amisori on the 14th, Starlight on the 15th. She's picking up nada in those 3 matches. So again, similar to Rian, I think this is more of a sort of an experience for her, development for her. Again, I use the example of Uriah Himi in 2025. I think it'll be more like that than her worrying anyone in this block at all.
I totally agree with you, Rob, but I'm going to throw something out there in the ether that's going to make you and everybody else think. That Momo Watanabe match, what if Saya Kamatani is seconding Momo Watanabe and accidentally does something to trip up Momo Watanabe and Kikyo gets the roll up on the winner of this last year's tournament? Can you imagine Momo Watanabe, just coming back from injury, won this tournament last year, gets tripped up accidentally, the person she's currently feuding with, that she did cash in her championship match and lost to last year. A lot of stuff they can build there on Kikyo Furusawa's first 5-star Grand Prix. I'm not saying it's going to happen. However, it would make sense for the storyline for that, and maybe that 1 point or 2 points is what keeps Momo from the 1 seed to the 2 seed. I don't know. Like, there's something there because they've done a great job building this up with Momo and Saya that you wouldn't be shocked. Now, it could happen in the Ami Sourei match, it could happen in the Yuna match, it could happen in the Koguma match, but I think it would be something if it was Kikyo Furusawa to give Momo Watanabe like her first loss in this tournament. The person that won it last year, goes through the first 3 or 4 matches, steamrolls everybody, then she gets tripped up on a banana peel called Saya Kamatani, and Kikyo rolls her up. Just saying, I think that would be really interesting. Yeah, I agree. I think she's going to get 0.0 points. But it's going to be all about the experience being, as we call it, the block of death. She's going to be looking at the lights quite a bit, but she's going to be having some great matches because, one, she's really good. And these wrestlers, these Han and Momo Watanabes, these Starlight kids, they're passable. They're passable, Rob.
They're all right. Yeah, they're okay. The high-speed genius Koguma makes her 5-star Grand Prix return for her 5th tournament, making her debut back in 2014. Got 14 points in 2022, which I think there was that many people in 2022's tournament that it was impossible not to get at least 10 points. 15, 14, and 3 is her record. Obviously didn't participate in last year's tournament, but I feel like Koguma takes up the Saki Kashima mantle where she could get beaten by anyone, but she could beat anyone as well. Koguma is one of the only people that I look at the Saya Kamatani match on the 1st of August and go, could they? Could they? And it's Momo Watanabe that she has got on the 15th of August. It's Momo's final match and it's Koguma's final match. Again, could she? Could she? I mean, the match that I'm pretty confident she's winning is the Yuna Mizumori match on the 2nd of August. And the only reason I say that is because obviously we need to give Yuna Mizumori challenges as the high-speed champion. And I think Koguma hasn't been in the high-speed title picture in years, and I think it'd be a great time to reintroduce her to that.
Yeah. Rob, not to tip your hand, do you have Koguma winning the whole entire 5-star Grand Prix? Just tell me yes or no.
Yes.
Okay. So you think she's winning the whole 5-star Grand Prix?
I do. And then Hazuki comes back, turns on her, FWC implode, and that's your Dream Queendom main event.
Well, there you go, folks. There you go. So, okay. So Rob
thanks for listening, guys. We have got nothing else for you today.
So, okay. Obviously, Rob doesn't have Koguma winning the whole tournament. Neither do I.
Nope.
Neither does Amber. Neither does Andy Header. However, you know who told me this weekend? Is Koguma is their pick to win the whole tournament?
I disagree. If it's Karen
Hazuki. Hazuki did tell me when I got to interview her at the Spark Joshi show. My last question was, who do you think is going to win the tournament? I honestly thought she was going to say Utami or Sai or Momo, and she's like, Koguma, obviously. And then she started doing the Kuma dance. And then somebody, when I posted the video on my social media, somebody told me that Rana was behind Hazuki making the X sign. I'll have to send, because they zoomed in on it. Send it to me. I'll have to send it to you when we get off this podcast. That clearly, like, Rana was like, stopped your autograph line, was like, no, we're not doing this in the autograph line. We're absolutely not. So, again, who are we to argue with Hazuki? Hazuki does have Koguma winning the whole tour. Some people are saying she's biased. I'm never going to argue with the wild heart that is Hazuki. However, Rob, I'm going to agree with you on quite a bit here. I think, yes, she does defeat Yuna, because I think Yuna and Koguma is going to be a really great match when they run that for the high-speed championship. She's probably going to get the win on Kikyo Furusawa. Mm-hmm. And you're right. That scenario I mentioned with Momo Watanabe, maybe Momo Watanabe is the 1 seed going into that match, and Kamatani is the 2 seed, and Kamatani actually does something, trips up Momo, and then Koguma does roll up Momo with the Kuma roll, and that blocks from Momo from being the 1 seed. That's all the possibility. She'll have a great match. I'm really looking forward to a match with Starlight Kid, because Starlight Kid, former high-speed champion, as well as Sai Kamatani. So you're going to see a lot of fun stuff there. And we have seen when we get those FWCs versus Wingori matches, how well her and Hanan work together. Match quality-wise, I think when we get halfway through this tournament, we're like, we forgot what a great singles wrestler Koguma is, because she's so good at, 1, the comedy, and 2, teaming with Hazuki, that we forget, I almost take it for granted, like what a great singles wrestler she is. I think we're going to get a lot of that here in her block.
Moving on then, last year's winner, the Black Peach Momo Watanabe, her 10th 5-star Grand Prix this year, which is an astonishing record. It really is. I believe she's only missed one through injury, and that was the 2017 tournament. 42 matches she's won, 30 losses, 4 draws. She might well this year surpass Tam as the most 5-star Grand Prix losses, Matt. So I'm sure you'll be rooting on 4 losses for Momo here.
I don't know. I really like Momo Watanabe. I'll be honest with you. I'm glad you're sitting down. Obviously, Tam Lore is huge with me. As far as what wrestler I like better, I like Momo Watanabe better as a wrestler than Tam, believe it or not.
Bloody hell.
Yes.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. I'm just telling you. And I love Tam. I'm a big fan of Momo Watanabe. That's high bar. That's like, do you want to be a billionaire or a zillionaire? You know what I mean? The whole Tam thing just really just ticks you and my wife off, and I just love grinding the gears. The only time I'm a heel is when you guys bring up Tam.
That's true. Momo Watanabe is an interesting one because on paper, she shall go through. Mm-hmm. Yuna Mizumori on the opening night, easily see Momo dispatching her. Kikyo Furusawa on the 20th, see her dispatching her. I mean, you could see her beating Amisori, but then she goes Starlight Kid, Saya Kamatani, Hanan, Koguma. That's a horrible run to close out your 5-star Grand Prix. I mean, obviously, 2nd of August, Starlight Kid, the Korakuen Hall match with Saya Kamatani, which is 1,000% going to be your main event. There's all of the tension in the world between Momo Watanabe and Saya Kamatani that's permeating the rest of Hate as well. Again, Hanan needs victories if mine and yours booking is going to come to pass. And as we mentioned with Koguma could beat anyone. And anyone that has Koguma on the final night of their block run is in for a world of pain.
Tommy in 2022. Remember, exactly. Tommy needed that win to go through, and Koguma, remember, she did the code red out of the hijack. But I'm like, what? And like that ended, kicked Utami out in 2022.
Just to go back to Koguma as well, it's worth pointing out that if you have only seen Koguma do the comedy matches, she's a hell of a wrestler.
She sure is.
She just go back and have a look at her CMLL Japan Women's Championship match with Hazuki at Korakuen Hall. Fantastic match. Momo's in a really interesting spot because obviously she won the tournament last year, unsuccessful against Saya Kamatani, who is in her block. All of the tension in the world with Saya Kamatani. On paper, she goes through. She goes through as one of the top 3. However, with that tension with Saya Kamatani and other members of Hate, and obviously Hate don't go anywhere on their own, they're always in a pack. Miscommunication could lead to Momo losing matches you would expect her to win. And again, you've only got to lose 3 matches in this 5-star Grand Prix, and you could be eliminated. And I could see that happening with Momo Watanabe, but obviously the big match is that 3rd of August Korakuen Hall match against Saya Kamatani, where it feels like something big is going to happen.
Yep, sure is. It really sure does. I mean, she's got Kid, Kamatani, and Hanan. Not only are those are 3 matches back to back to back. And SummerSlam's that weekend. And SummerSlam actually looks really good. Man, there is going to be a lot of great wrestling. And it just never ends, Rob. It never ends. I'm really looking forward to her tournament. I'll tell you right now, I think she beats Kamatani and Korakuen. And then she slips up with Koguma. This way, like, she'll have the 1 seed, as I just mentioned, going in and own the tiebreaker over Kamatani. And she slips on a banana peel called Kamatani, and that lets Koguma to the Kuma roll, thus having Kamatani get more points and then getting the 1 seed over Momo Watanabe. That's the way I see it going, my friend.
So you have Kamatani as 1, Momo as 2.
Yes, sir. And I think Momo does defeat Kamatani and Korakuen.
Well, I mean, we might as well talk about the Phoenix Queen herself. The odds-on favorite to win this year's 5-star Grand Prix. Obviously, was a finalist in 2024, losing to Micah. A very dominant singles record against everybody in her block. Starlight Kid, as she opens her tournament against on the 28th of July, that first Corrigan Hall show, 5-1 record she has against Kid. And obviously there's a lot of history there. Their red belt match at Supreme Fight earlier this year in Osaka, which was a fantastic match. Kid wants revenge there. Momo Watanabe, again, on the 3rd of August. Momo wants revenge. Hanan on the last night, the 16th of August, she's 4-1 against Hanan, but Hanan wants revenge for Corrigan Hall last year. It feels like as interesting as Momo Watanabe's run is, it feels like there are more people gunning for Kamitani in this tournament. And as laughable as Momo Watanabe's comments at Saya Kamitani's week, considering she's never won the red belt, which I do think is quite funny, I think Kamitani... I think there are more potential pitfalls in her tournament than there are for Momo. Even though, weirdly, I've got Saya finishing higher, I just think there's more going on in Saya's run.
We all agree, as far as the first 3 blocks, that Maika's a lock, Utami's a lock, and Suzu's a lock. Who's a lock? Who's a lock here? If you can only get one right, who's a lock for you?
I mean, Kamitani goes through. I don't know if it's one seed. I don't know if she sneaks through on the final night. Has to beat Hanan on the final night to get through. I don't know. She definitely goes through. It's where she goes through, and that I would argue is probably the added tension between her and Momo Watanabe.
Yeah. Again, you got Kid, Kagama, that's going to be fun. Kikyo first. She'll give Kikyo a good match because she's Saya Kamitani.
She did last time.
She always does. I mean, again, her and Utami are just like the 2 most unselfish wrestlers like in all of wrestling. The Momo match is going to be fantastic. Her and Yuna, that again, the Tropicana can get you. Her and Ami Soya have always had really great chemistry. That a really underrated match in Kamitani's Wonder Stardom Championship run, just because there were so many must-see legendary matches in that run that you forget how great that Ami Soya match was. Yeah, the Hanan, they had a great match last year. They had a great match in the semifinals in 2024. There's a lot of steam behind Saya Kamitani. Hanan's a better wrestler now than she was last year and the year before. But you look at the 16th, it's the current Wonder of Stardom champion against the greatest Wonder of Stardom champion, in my opinion, when Saya Kamitani was the Golden Phoenix. I do see her losing to Momo Watanabe, maybe drawing with Kid, but that's about it. I just don't see her eating many L's in this one, my friend.
Do you think Kid manages to hold her off for 15 minutes, assuming that it's a 15-minute time limit? We're not sure yet.
I think it might be the main event. What else? Main event?
It's definitely the main event. We'll go through the Corrigan Hall cards in a minute, but it will definitely be the main event.
Man, I don't know. I'm excited for it though. I'm excited, but maybe she beats Kid there. But I just really think, and I'll get into why. I just think Momo beats her, but then I think something happens with Kagama pinning Momo, and then Saya beating Hanan. That not only gives Saya the 1Z, but knocks Hanan out, and then brings Kid to possibly the 3 seed. My guess is Kid. I'm going to throw this out there. It's going to be crazy. I'm really going deep into my predictions. Kid and Hanan are going to end with the same amount of points, but Kid's going to beat Hanan to win the tiebreaker, and then get to that 3 seed. That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, I'm pretty much exactly with you, apart from the fact that I think Momo will be the 3 seed, not Starlight Kid. I think that we will probably end up with another Saya and Momo match at Corrigan Hall on the in the playoffs quarterfinals, and I think
looking at my stuff,
and yeah, I think that's probably where, if Momo beats Saya in Corrigan Hall on the 3rd of August, that'll be where Saya Kamitani gets a win back. Because again, spoilers, I've got Saya Kamitani winning the tournament. Let's move on. Pardon me, to the second to last person we are going to be talking about, and that is Starlight Kid, Sky Tiger, dancing in the night sky. It's such a long nickname, I had to make it smaller in the font.
Great job,
tournament.
And you gave her 2 hands.
I did give her 2 hands. It's more than I gave to Zusarenova. 7 tournament appearances, made it to the quarterfinals in 2024. We disappointed with her tournament last year, 3-2-2 record, making it to 8 points, but losing to Natsupoi on the final night, which meant that she was stopped from going through as Wonder of Stardom champion, as we mentioned. Kid is one of your big main eventers, one of your big baby faces. Without the the Wonder of Stardom Championship, which is sort of almost the albatross around Hannon's neck, which is why we don't think she's going through. I think Kid is. I would argue that Kid is more, in my eyes, of a lock to go through than Momo Watanabe is. I think Kid is someone that could go the distance, is someone that could be in that Final Four on the final night in Ryogoku. Has a bloody difficult start to her tournament, though. Opens against Saya in Korakuen, then has Hannon on the 1st of August, and then has Momo Watanabe on the 2nd of August. It's not easy for Kid, to be fair. I mean, I do think she beats Hannon. I mean, she's dominated Hannon in prior singles competitions, 4-1 record. There's all that history with Momo Watanabe. Obviously, there was tag team champion. They were Goddess of Stardom tag team champions together. They were Artist of Stardom champions together. They ruled hate. Well, Oedetai as they were then, obviously, and that was another time we were talking about Natsuko Tora not feeling like the leader of Oedetai. But again, there are potential slip-ups there. I think that Starlight Kid could potentially fall to Koguma. Again, if we keep saying everyone's going to fall to Koguma, Koguma's going to end up as the one seed.
Hazuki was right. Hazuki told us.
Exactly.
Hazuki told us.
Hazuki, you always listen to the Wild Heart. Ami Story on the final night is a really tasty matchup, and it wouldn't surprise me if that is a winner goes through.
Yeah,
on the final night.
That's a good point. The way I see it, she loses the Kamatani, beats Hanan, loses the Momo, and then maybe she runs the gamut.
Yeah, agreed.
To go all the way. I mean, there's a possibility. I mean, Starlight Kid was my pick to win the whole entire thing last year. Didn't make the playoffs. I just don't see her be. And I got 7 of the 8 playoff people right. I just didn't have Kid, who was my overall winner. Mm-hmm. So I just don't see her being one of the biggest stars in this company. Like arguably the second biggest star. Like Kamatani's 1, and that 2, it's like Micah, Kid, like you throw Azumi in there as well. But like Kid, arguably the second or third biggest star in this company. I just don't see her missing the tournament 2 years in a row. And again, not only one of the biggest stars, one of the best wrestlers in my opinion, the best wrestling company in the world in Stardom. Even though she is in the block of death, she is part of that death. Like she's a reason why this block is so good. But all these matches are going to be great. Starlight Kid is just one of my favorite wrestlers to watch in current wrestling. She's saying something because I watch a lot of wrestling. She's a special talent. I think you have to have her in the playoff there in Korakuen Hall. I think she does go through. I think that we ascend now this push to Starlight Kid. And if Starlight Kid beats Hanan, who's not to say that we see Hanan and Starlight Kid for the Wonder of Stardom Championship? And it'll be Starlight Kid's first shot at that belt since losing it to Konami. So there's a lot of possibilities, a lot of stuff coming there. But I think that Kid does have a really high record. I wouldn't be shocked if she's the 1 seed, but more on that later on my seeding, my friend.
Yeah, the seeding in this one is really... I feel like our 3s are the same. It's just where do we seed them?
Sure.
Finally, and this is, bless her, someone we haven't spent a lot of time talking about. It's the Tropical Yoho, the current high-speed champion. It's Yuna Mizumori. Picked up her first 5-star Grand Prix points last year and a 2-5 record in her 3rd attempt at picking up points. Went over in 2 consecutive tournaments, bless her, but she was the winner in our hearts. Unfortunately, this year for the high-speed champion, I don't see her picking up many points. However, I think she's going to have some fantastic matches because there's history with Saya Kamatani from last year. Saya Kamatani, the scoundrel, broke Yuna Mizumori's pineapple glasses.
That's right. Revenge
is needed. Again, I think she will put on some absolutely phenomenal matches. Again, you look at the wrestlers in this block that are capable of wrestling the high-speed style, your Starlight Kid, your Koguma, those 2 are going to be great matches. There's animosity with Saya Kamatani. That's going to be a great match. Her and Amisori on the 28th in Korakuen Hall is another one to keep an eye on because I think that if they give that 9-10 minutes, that could really slap.
It's gonna be hard hitting. Yuna is in a company that has a lot of hard hitters. Yuna with that lariat Like, look out. Nami story likes to bring it as well. We keep saying Kikyo probably ending with the 0. Kikyo getting a win and then running it back for the high speed championship is something they could do because Kikyo is over and she's in with the Ito Respect Army, who's not an official faction, but yet still somewhat of a faction. I think Yuna and Starlight Kid is probably going to be her best match. I think that'll be like the match where like, wow, they really blew it out of the water there. But she's going to have great matches. She's a fantastic wrestler. Like Yuna's biggest problem is the thing we love most about Stardom. There's so many great wrestlers that you're like, oh yeah, Yuna's in this company and she's great and she's fantastic. However, she is in the block of death with literally the best of the best. So she's going to have great matches. She's going to go all out. She's another one that we're like, wow, that's somebody that in a year or two we can see her on the Starlight Kid, Azumi, May, Sarah level where it might be time to have her graduate from the high speed division. Again, when the time is right. But the match Kid is the match I'm looking forward to the most, but I think the aftermath of what happens with her and Kagama, I think they'll run that back for the high speed championship somewhere in the fall after the 5-star Grand Prix. Yeah, I just don't see her getting many points. She'll probably stay at the 4 points that she did last year, but she's gonna have a lot of great matches.
And so I feel like we've already touched on this, to be perfectly honest. Matt, we have got our 3 seeds. Who have you got going through and in what order?
Okay, Saya Kamatani is number 1. Momo Watanabe. Now, this is really, really important to me on the seeding on this one, and I'll get into it when we dive into our playoffs. Kamatani 1, Momo 2, and Starlight Kid 3.
Interesting. What
Let
about
me see what Amber has. Her handwriting is so good. Kamatani 1, Starlight Kid 2, and Momo 3. So we have the same 3 people, just our seating is different. How about you? I think you're pretty much on the same here.
I've got the same as Amber. Yeah. Saya Kamatani is 1. I think Momo slips up against Koguma on the final night, which knocks her down from the first seed. I think I've got the same as you. Saya 1, Momo 2, Kid 3. And I think it'll be between Kid, Amisori, and Hannon as the person to go through in that 3rd seed position. So I'm the same as you. Before we get through to the brackets then and who we've got going through and into the finals at Ryogoku, just a couple of reminders. I'm not going to go through every single night and all the matches on every single night because we'll be here for days. I am just going to highlight a couple of shows. So the first show, which is on the 18th of July in Ota Ward City Gym, we've got from Red Stars A, Sayaka Kurara and Akira Gorogane, Tomoka Inaba versus Itsuki Aoki. Red Stars B, Sayarida versus Azusa Inaba, Mei Seira versus Rina Yamashita. Blue Stars A, Miyu Amasaki and Ruaka, Aya Sakura and Hanako. Blue Stars B, Momo Watanabe and Yuna Mizumori, Kikyo Furusawa and Koguma. Matt, what are you most looking forward to there, good sir?
Tomoka and Aoki, Ida and Azusa, Mei Seira and Rina. Those are the 3 matches I'm looking forward to the most. And Momo and Yuna. Because again, Yuna's going to have to really bring that firepower to Momo. So that'll be a fun. Aya and Hanako, we just talked 2 hours ago. We're just like, the night 1 doesn't look like how it did in the past, which, again, because you used to get Momo and Mayu and Hazuki versus Julia. But boy, howdy, I just rattled off. I'm looking forward to this match and this match and this match and this match and this match. Oh, by the way, we have Azumi versus Fuuchan in a non-tournament match, and then as well as Shuri versus Natsupoi in the main event. So, I guess this will do.
I will just say for those that are watching on YouTube, the gold matches are first-time matchups.
Look
just
at you.
Point that out.
Look at you. No wonder why you've written a book that I literally just cracked my floor with because it's so heavy.
It is heavy. Just moving on a little bit then to night 6, the first of our Korakuen Hall shows, 28th of July, Red Stars A, Sayaka Kurara versus Itsuki Aoki. And Natsuko Tora versus Maika. Red Stars B, Lady C versus Maki Ito, and Utami Hayashishita versus Konami. Blue Stars A, Suzu Suzuki versus Miyu Amasaki, and Rian versus a mystery opponent. Blue Stars B, Yuna Mizumori versus Amisori. And then, again, I pointed this out, Mike. It's almost undoubtedly going to be your main event. Blue Stars B, Starlight Kid versus Saya Kamatani. Again, Kid versus Kamatani, Utami versus Konami, as well. And then Tora and Micah are ones, Matt, that I feel like we really need to be keeping an eye on.
Yeah, obviously, Kid and Kamatani, they had a great match for the Wonder Belt. They were in the playoff bracket in 2024, the 5-star Grand Prix. Great match show this year for the Red Belt. And don't forget, it was Natsuko Tora that did defeat Micah to end Micah's run as World of Stardom champion some 2 years ago. Utami and Kunami, that's going to be hard hitting. And then you're going to see a really fired up Miyu Amasaki try to get an upset win over Suzu Suzuki, our current World of Stardom champion. And then Stone Cold Rion taking on Minoru Suzuki. We don't know. Well, I guess we'll find out as soon as we get done hitting the record button, buddy. I have faith that that's what's going to happen.
I really hope so. The next Korakuen Hall show is from the 3rd of August, and this really does feel like a loaded show. Azumi versus Itsuki Aoki, and Natsuko Tora versus Akira Kurogane from Red Stars A. Red Stars B, Lady C and Azusa Renaba, Sayarida versus Konami, that rematch from Dream Queendom. Blue Stars A, we've got Aya Sakura versus the mystery opponent, and Hina versus Rian. And then Blue Stars B, Yuna Mizumori versus Starlight Kid. And then Momo Watanabe versus Saya Kamatani. Matt, obviously the main event, I feel like, is fairly obvious. Momo Watanabe versus Saya Kamatani, but what else is jumping off the page to you there?
Azumi and Atsuki and Aoki. Again, we mentioned how Aoki, I don't think that there's enough people, the Stardom fan base, that are spotlighting how great a wrestler she is. Very much like Rina Yamasa. I think people are like, wowzers, what a special talent she is. And it's going to be Korakuen Hall, more than likely sold out. Wrestling Azumi, I think that is going to be one that's going to steal the undercard. Hina versus Stone Cold Rion is another one I'm looking forward to. And then the chop and kickoff between not only Lady C and Azusa Inaba, but Saida and Kunami as well. So you can see a lot of chops, a lot of kicks, and then we're going to see what will probably be one of the best matches of the tournament in the main event of Momo Watanabe and Sai Kamatai. Not only for 2 points, Rob, not only for positioning in the tournament, but again, we have the underlining story of the cracks and hate between the former champion Sai Kamatani and last year's winner Momo Watanabe. So a lot of stuff going into that match as well.
Finally, the final night of block action is on the 16th of August from Act City, Hamamatsu. Red Stars A, Micah versus Akira Kurogane. Can Akira trip up Micah? No. Azumi versus Rina. We've also got Red Stars B, Maki Ito versus Konami, and Meisera versus Utami Hayashishita. Blue Stars A, Hanako versus Ruaka, and Suzu Suzuki versus a mystery opponent. And then 2 banger matches in Blue Stars B, Amisori versus Starlight Kid, and Hanan versus Saya Kamatani. I mean, as an all-round show, I would say the Act City show is probably the best card, Matt. Although, again, there are singular nights in between these.
Yeah, again, we made mention, we did this preview. There's going to be a lot of tall tale matches on the show. Azumi Rina, Meisera Utami, as well as Hanan and Saya Kamatani to see who 1 seed, 2 seed, who maybe a 4th seed and drop out of the playoffs. But really loaded, Hanako and Ruaka slip on a banana peel. And again, Suzu Suzuki versus X, if it is somebody from AEW, who wouldn't want to see an AEW contracted wrestler against our current World of Stardom champion in Suzu Suzuki, especially if it is a Megan Bain or Elena Cross. I mean, who knows? Again, we will find out. I hope we either find out as soon as we hit the record button or after England scores the first 2 goals, and then we find out that it is like Lana Cross. You're like, oh my goodness. And Rob is shotgunning beers, slamming burgers. It's going to be like the most wonderful day of the year for him.
Damn right. Damn right. With that, let's look ahead then to the playoffs and quarterfinals, which are due to take place on the 18th of August, 2026 from Korakuen Hall. So the way this is going to work, and again, if you are watching this on YouTube or indeed on our Patreon, you'll be able to see the way that this all sorts itself out. So the winners of all 4 blocks get buys into the quarterfinals. You've then got the second seed in Red Stars B taking on the 3rd seed of Red Stars A. And they will take on, the winner of that will take on the 1 seed in Red Stars A in the quarterfinal. On the other Red Stars quarterfinal side, the winner of Red Stars A2 and Red Stars B3 will take on the winner of Red Stars B in the other Red Stars quarterfinal. So, Matt, let's do the red side of the bracket first. So, for you, how does this bracket play out for the quarterfinals?
Now, I do want to say myself and Amber, we have our full bracket. Andy Header sent like his certain picks, but once we get to the semifinals and finals, we'll give Andy Header and Karen Peterson. So that's when we'll interject those two. So, okay, yes, obviously I have Mike as the 1 seed, so she will get the bye. I do have on the top left part of the bracket, the B2, well, which is a great vitamin that you should take, Saida versus A3, which is Sayaka Kuro. I have Saida getting the win, setting up a Saida and Micah match. Who does not want to see that? So that will then set up. How about this for a match? B1 is Utami. So Utami gets the bye to later on the night, taking on the winner of A2, Azumi, and B3, May Sarah. So we do have Neo Genesis members, Azumi and May Sarah, going at it. I have Azumi getting the win, setting up Azumi, Utami Hayashishita. Rob. So again, my final four in Red Stars is Saya Ida versus Micah and Azumi versus Utami Hayashishita. That's what I have. Now, let's go over to Miss Amber's. Amber has Azumi A1, so Azumi is late qualifying for the next round later in the night. She'll be taking on the winner of May Sarah and Rena. And she does have Rena going through, setting up another Azumi and Rena match. That'll give it, if that happens, Rob, that is 4 5-star Grand Prix matches in 2 years between Azumi and Rena. You cannot have too much of a good thing.
Nope.
And then we do have on the bottom part of the bracket, Utami is her bye. So she does have Micah and Kunami, Micah getting the win, setting up Utami versus Micah. So again, her final four is Azumi versus Rena and Micah versus Utami. Gerbster, what do you got, brother? Tell me what you got.
So obviously my Red Stars A1 is Micah, who gets the bye, which means that B2, Utami, will be taking on A3, Natsuko Tora. I'll have Utami going through there, which means that my first quarterfinal will be Micah versus Utami. On the bottom part of the Red Stars block, my B1 is May Sarah, who gets the bye to the quarterfinals. A2 is Azumi. B3 is Saya Ida. I've got Azumi winning that, which means that May Sarah versus Azumi is my quarterfinal. So my 2 quarterfinals, just to remind everyone, are Utami versus Micah and May Sarah versus Azumi. And I'm going to go ahead and give you my semifinals, my winners, my 2 that are going through to the semifinals. I've got Utami beating Micah. I've got Azumi beating May Sarah, which means that my semi-final in Ryogoku, Queen's Quest Law, my friend, Utami versus Azumi.
Well, since you're on that track, I had it as my quarterfinals, I just said, but Amber has Azumi beating Rena and Utami beating Micah. So you and Amber have Azumi and Utami in Sumo Hall, my friend. So I just gave Amber. So I will give mine, and then we'll go over to Blue Stars. I do have Azumi and Utami, as you just said, but I have Azumi beating Utami, Micah beating Saya Kamatani. So now we have the winner of this tournament in 2024, former Red Belt champion Micah, taking on the winner of this tournament in 2020, Utami Hayashishita, on the pay-per-view, sir. So now while we're there, I will read Andy Header. Andy Header for Red Stars. His Red Stars final is the same as mine, has Utami versus Micah. Karen Peterson, Rob, completely out of left field.
Go on.
Has Azumi versus May Sarah.
Ooh, nice.
Yes. Should we go over to the blue side, sir?
Please do.
Who do you want to go first? Me, you, Amber, Karen Peterson, or Andy Header? You choose, man. You're the one that put in 4,000 hours worth of work. Dealer's choice, sir. How do you want to do this?
We'll do it the same as before, mate. You go ahead. I'm just writing out my bracket as we go.
So A1, which is a great steak sauce. Suzu Suzuki is the bye, taking on the winner of Momo Watanabe and Hina. That's a match I really want to see. Momo Watanabe getting the win, setting up Momo Watanabe and Suzu Suzuki. Down here on the bottom part of the bracket, I have Kamatani as the B1. She gets the bye. She'll be taking on the winner of Starlight Kid and Aya Sakura. And I have Starlight Kid getting the win. So that sets up another Saya Kamatani versus Starlight Kid match. We go over to Amber's bracket. She's got Suzu at the bye, and Suzu will be taking on the winner of Starlight Kid and Hina. Amber has Starlight Kid Starlight Kid beating Hina, excuse me. So that sets up later in the night in Cork and Suzu Suzuki versus Starlight Kid. That's a match I definitely want to see. And then over on the bottom part of the bracket, Kamatani gets the bye. Kamatani taking on the winner, Miyu Amasaki and Momo Watanabe. That'll be Momo Watanabe getting the win. So her semifinals of the Blue Stars is Suzu Suzuki versus Starlight Kid and Saya Kamatani versus Momo Watanabe. Andy Header has Suzu Suzuki versus Saya Kamatani as his semifinals, the same as Amber's. Rob Goodwin, where were you at there, good sir?
So my winner of Blue Stars A is Suzu, obviously, so she gets the bye. Blue Stars B2 is Saya Kamatani, and she takes on A3, which is Aya Sakura. Obviously, Saya Kamatani wins that to set up a quarterfinal with Suzu Suzuki versus Saya, who doesn't want to see that. On the bottom, I've got my B1, which is Momo Watanabe getting the bye. A2 is Hanako. B3 is Starlight Kid. So Starlight Kid versus Hanako. Starlight Kid wins that, setting up the quarterfinal of Momo Watanabe and Starlight Kid. Momo wins that, which means that my blue semi-final for Ryogoku is Momo Watanabe and Saya Kamatani, which means that all four women are the original Queen's Quest. Well, I'll say the original Queen's Quest. The Queen's Quest that we knew and loved when it really became solidified. And yeah, so I've got Utami versus Azumi on the Red Stars side, and I've got Momo Watanabe versus Saya Kamatani on the Blue Stars side.
Okay. So just to go on the paper, just going to go back. So Amber has Azumi versus Utami, Suzu versus Saya. Andy Header has Suzu versus Saya and Utami versus Micah. Pardon me. I have Micah versus Utami and Momo versus Saya. Karen Peterson has, as I mentioned before, Azumi versus May Sarah and Suzu Suzuki versus Starlight Kid. Wow. So again, no Utami, no Saya Kamatani in her final four. Very interesting. I'm going to stay on the Karen Peterson train here because this is what she has, Rob. And once I was like, didn't see it. I didn't even know it was possible because I didn't look that far. Her final, Rob, is Azumi versus Starlight Kid. Oh my goodness. And she has, I'm just going to go through. She has Azumi winning the 5-star Grand Prix.
I'm sure she wanted Azumi to win it last year as well.
I think she did have it.
Azumi last year.
I'm actually going to scroll through us talking because I haven't talked to her that much, but I think she does have, let's see. Who did she have winning it? Hold on. I'm sorry.
Sure, it was Azumi. I'm sure 2025 was Azumi.
Because she had Takeshita winning the G1, Azumi winning the 5-star, Mirai winning the Dream Star. She gave me she went right to the tournament winners. She went right through it. So
go on then, Matt. What about you?
Okay. So now, where am I? Right here. I have Utami beating Micah and Saya Kamatani defeating Momo Watanabe, setting up the final of Utami and Saya Kamatani. This was the obvious choice. Suzu wins the belt. I'm not sure. What are they going to do with Micah? I'm going to add a little more onto that in just a moment. Andy Header has Saya Kamatani over Suzu Suzuki and Utami over Micah. So he has the same final of Saya versus Utami. Amber has Utami over Azumi and Saya over Suzu Suzuki. So Amber, Andy Header, and myself all have a final of Saya versus Utami. Rob Goodwin, do you pretty much like the rest of the universe here?
I mean, I've already tipped my hand at the fact that I've got 4 members of Queen's Quest in the semi-finals.
Bow down.
Lean into the law, man. Just lean into it. Like it was one of the most entertaining matches at the conversion. Lean into it. You want to sell tickets at Ryogoku? Lean into it. Absolutely lean into it. So, yeah, I've got Utami going over Azumi, Saya going over Momo, and then that's my final.
Yeah. So again, with mine, Utami and Mike, as I said, it can go either way because who doesn't want to see Micah versus Saya? Who doesn't want to see Utami versus Momo? Because there was live rounds being thrown with those two in Cork and Hall, and everybody was going nuts. But again, you're looking to do about 10,000 people. Utami and Saya is the way to go.
Absolutely.
I'm saying Saya Kamatani wins the 5-star Grand Prix. Not only that, Rob, we back up a few minutes. I did have Momo Watanabe beating Suzu Suzuki in Cork and Hall for her to go to the playoff or to go to the pay-per-view. Maybe if Suzu doesn't drop any falls, it's Momo that beat her. Maybe Momo then goes to the next pay-per-view. And not only this is my prediction. Momo finally wins the red belt, defeats Suzu Suzuki, and then at Dream Queendom, when we finally have the whole entire hate storyline play out, Saya Kamatani gets kicked out of hate, doesn't have a friend in the world. However, she does hold the crown and does hold the #1 contender spot. She challenges Momo Watanabe at Dream Queendom in Sumo Hall for the 3rd match this year. Now, again, the way I had it is I have Momo beating Kamatani and Corkin for the regular season match. I have Saya beating Momo in the playoff. So this will be the rubber match that they'll have that year. And then what I'm going to have is not only does Kamatani defeat Momo Watanabe to win back the red belt. Where'd you go?
Oh, I think my phone died.
Oh, I've been waiting literally 3.5 hours to tell you this. At the end of Dream Queendom in Sumo Hall, not only is Saya holding the red belt, Utami comes in and they embrace. There it is. You got your Utami Saya match here.
Yep.
Now, because eventually they're turning Saya babyface. I mean, she's kind of babyface now. Yep. So I think that between the end of the 5-star and then the end of the 5-star, you crown Momo as champion. You give her a couple of title defenses. You kick Saya out of hate. Saya doesn't have a friend in the world because she pretty much beat up the entire roster the last 2 years. She tries to go to Micah. Micah's like, go pound sand. She tries to go up. He's like, nope. And who is her only friend? Tommy Hayashishita.
Death.
Oh, that's the best friend. That's the Tokyo Dome, buddy. That's the Tokyo Dome.
True.
So that's what I have. I kind of figured everybody's gonna be the same boat as me. I will say this, even though we have the same 3 finals, I'm the only one that has Saya winning. Andy Hatter has Utami winning, and Amber has Utami winning.
No, I've got Saya winning.
Look at that. Team me and you, buddy. Team me and you. So now what we're saying is this is the final, which it's a good possibility. Again, could it be Micah? Could they throw Momo back in there? Could it be Izumi? Sure. However, that is the final. Rob, me and you, buddy. Me and you, we're going to team up, and we're going to take out I can't even say Dashley, the wife, because she's so sweet. That Dashley, Andy Header, and then Amber. The whole reason why I have to do so much cardio, because they're great cooking. And then we'll have a talk when we get to England, buddy. That's what we'll do.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, 3.5 hours
shorter than last year.
Shorter than last year. That's because we didn't have B Priestley. I think it would have been longer if we'd have got B. 3.5 hours to tell you that we've all got the same final. But we hope that you have enjoyed this primer, and we've sufficiently hyped you up ahead of the tournament start on the 18th of July in Ibarra Wave. We, as you can tell, are incredibly excited. We hope you are too. In plenty of incredible matches, despite the fact that we've got no Shiori, no Hazuki, no Rani Yagami, no Fuwa-chan. We've still got loads to look forward to. We're going to let you go because, again, it's been 3.5 hours, and you've got another Stardom cast coming on Friday anyway, because surely you just want more of us. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening. We really do appreciate every single one of you. If you haven't already subscribed on the podcast app of your choice, please consider subscribing. Leave us a review or a 5-star comment. It really does help the podcast grow, and it's a completely free way of supporting us. worldofjoshi.com as well as patreon.com/worldofjoshi will take you to the exact same place. It's where you can listen to all of these episodes ad-free for as little as $1 a month, as well as a whole litany of bonus content, as well as all our show reviews, previews, the predictions competition. The 5-star Grand Prix pick'ems will be live. They will be a part of our predictions league this year. It will be live as soon as I know who the X is. As soon as I know who the X is, it will be up on our Patreon, and I'll put it all over our social media. Some princess predictions will be up tomorrow, or the 15th of July as we record. If you want to find us on social media, WOJ Wrestling, you can talk to me on Twitter at Real Rob Goodwin. Matt Turner, sign us off, good sir.
Last prediction: England wins 3-1. 3-1. So there you go.
Yes.
I'll be checking in on you, my friend, tomorrow. So I'm going to make sure. Remember, I'm the positive guy. I'll help you out either way. Anywho, folks, questions, comments, suggestions, anything you need from me, Matt Turner OF on the Twitter and the Instagram is the easiest, fastest, and bestest way to get a hold of me. Don't forget to subscribe to me over there on the TikTok as well, M Turner, or you can shoot me an email. The email address is matt@worldofjoshi.com, as well as, I can't see Rob, but I'm sure he's helping me out here, the Stardom Cast.
I'm right.
22 at gmail.com, folks. That's gonna wrap it up for this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed this 5-star primer. Million thanks to Rob Goodwin, who does so much work to make this 5-star primer so much better. Cannot thank him enough, as he does each and every year. We greatly appreciate your support. Can't do without you. Like I always say, just not my podcast, it's our podcast, because we're all together and everybody's different, everybody's special.